My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Alrighty, this is again a coach stalking at OVITT Family Community Library, and they're stalking y'all. You're seeing the U.S. military stalking to the light activity. Here's my shadow over here. Here's my shadow back here. And here's my shadow up here. These are demons. And taking time out of their trip, their coach, to engage in criminal monitoring. This is the international surveillance that the United States military is engaging in. All right, they're coming in gang stalking everybody on this bus. This is Provost. I'm going to prosecute the ones that's hosting this trip. They're engaged in criminal activity license Edward Paul 15594. They're doing so with the U.S. military. And they're engaged in what is molesting me with impossible light. Just like Leo is, it's the same pattern of conduct. This is impossible light on the bus. This is impossible light. These are all demons monitoring. And this is, again, the entity that's engaged in that gang stalking, pacing, parking at the library, the OVITT library, and using this as a means of pacing with the U.S. military that is gang stalking. I'm going to prosecute them. They're going to pay me for this. And this is the entity that's monitoring the demons that are operating the coach, driving the bus, and they just decided to engage in using their trip as a means of the P.O.C. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently, excuse me.
Do you have a car?
What are you?
SEIU
2026. I'm going to prosecute them. That's P.O.C. She's monitoring. All right, the entity is engaging in this with the U.S. military that you just saw hovering right here. That is Prevost. EP 15594. I'm going to prosecute them. That's pattern of conduct. The entity's engaging in this with the, they're molesting me with impossible light. That's a psychopath while they're engaging in what is molesting me with light. And then you turn around and this is a scion. And the entity is engaging, I'm getting my luggage and I'm walking to the coach. They've been engaged in prolonged surveillance. They've been sitting over here for over 30 minutes. And the entity is now engaging in what is loading as I come over here and start capturing video where you saw the U.S. military hovering. 6 Frank Wendy 575. Co-conspirators of murder, sex offenders molesting with impossible light, OVITT Family Community Library, gang stalking with the U.S. military. That's P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in that psychopathic behavior. That's a pattern of conduct. Okay? Can't afford a decent vehicle, but is monitoring my vagina. You see this piece of crap? That's the pattern of conduct, though. These are bums. That's the pattern of conduct. P.O.C. It is currently 12:18 a.m. This is the entity that is obsessed with me. Their obsession is because they are demon possessed. All right, the entity has an organized trip underway. They came into town to engage in gang stalking the targeted individual that they know is present in the USA and Ontario, California. I'm going to prosecute Prevost. I'm going to prosecute them. SEOU 2026 used to gang stalk me. Pattern of conduct. License plate 8ZQD 559. Stalking. Okay, there's no planes from the airport that are hovering here. They're clearly stalking, and I'm going to prosecute them for that. That they've been engaged in federal stalking, monitoring me while I've been over here. This is where the entity stalked my helicopter. There's no mystery here. You're looking at all the ways in which the entity is engaged in what is international surveillance in the United States. This is the prosecution for treason. P.O.C. Currently, 6:55 a.m. The entity has the fake sun when I'm walking into Upland. But as you know, when Landivar is being prosecuted by stalking conspicuously, which there is no way to avoid prison when you're stalking conspicuously like gang stalkers must do, the entity has the fake sun over me at 8 o'clock where he's stalking on Euclid Avenue in Upland, California at the library, the same library where I was present after 6 p.m. and that fake sun was still there. In Ontario, California at Stater Brothers at 646, that's going prosecuted. Okay, you see how he's stalking in alignment? Stalking is identified. Not only he didn't walk on the sidewalk, he's not walking on that side, he's stalking in alignment to me where I'm located, where the fake sun is aimed on me, where that's not the natural environment. That's identifying a stalker. Okay, the entity is engaging in this POC and is doing so just like SEIU did last night. Let me show you who they are. These are predators that call themselves fighting the good fight of equitable pay in California. Don't be deceived by demons. They're all the same. Literally. They are all the same. SEIU, Local 1000, they were gang stalking last night. They're terrorists. While they have the nerve to be organizing in the name of equitable pay in California, but that's not a surprise. I'm showing you the vast amounts of hypocrisy. But they are molesting me with impossible light. As I document damning evidence, I'm subject to harassment by demons who then begin the ongoing psychopathic pattern of flashing me with light, stalking me with light because they know that they're being documented, which is more evidence that you are in fact stalking and monitoring me. And that's exactly what Stater Brothers is doing. I'm going to prosecute them. And the entity's doing that with the people of the state who are all here stalking, including this employee with license DODGERS. He's inside of the store. He's a psycho inside of the store stalking me with noise that he's making while he's interfering with my ability to shop in the store where I'm being stalked and gang stalked because he's monitoring. Okay. And he's working under the fake sun. Sorry, let me show you who I'm referring to. This is who I'm referring to. This is the venue I'm referring to. And this is the venue where this demon works stalking via stalking inventory. Stalking, STALKING, by stalking, STOCKING, which is how criminal surveillance by demons with poor customer service stalk you in a store and stalk you with noise while they're stalking with light. Okay, so while I'm at the grocery store, This is the entity that is stalking me and doing so here. They're demons because they're mad about how excellent this public investigation is. That's why they're stalking me by helicopter, because they're triggered by how excellent this public investigation is. And so you give me more evidence that you're guilty, and everybody else is witnessing how much you are literally the living dead, full of demons, who are losing in what is trying to sacrifice somebody. And so you give more evidence as to why you're getting deported, why you're being committed, why you're going to prison, why you're going to no longer exist as a corporate entity, and you're going to give me every dollar that you have before doing so. The entity is engaging in this conduct while I'm documenting the terrorists. Delta Airlines is stalking me over here. I documented that. Delta Airlines is stalking me up in California. There's only one terminal assigned to Delta Airlines at Ontario International Airport. Okay? And none of them are crossing paths with where I'm located in Upland and Ontario. As I capture this video of the entity stalking, where I'm standing is where the plane activity is occurring in alignment to me, stalking me just like the demons who are the people. And as I capture that, then I am accosted with light, okay? And who is surrounding? All the psychopaths. They're going to be with this. This is the evidence that's serving for what is going to be mass commitments. It's actually going to happen. And they're demons that need to be committed. This is long overdue, okay? But the entity is engaging in this as though nothing is happening when they're actually psychopaths who are hostile, just like you witnessed with the impossible light activity in Upland, California. And while I'm under this coverage structure, the entity begins stalking me, molesting me, psychologically torturing me, sexually violating me with impossible light, in concert with the homosexuals of the U.S. military that are stalking me in perfect alignment with my exit of the venue, which is all relevant for who's going to prison. In concert with these demons that are stalking me like she just did right now, this demon's going to federal prison. Not only Salvador, but also this demon license 8 Yolanda Nancy Charlie 992 who was stalking me at this venue. Doing so in concert with the employees and the demons that are engaged in what is psychopathic behavior, molesting me with light. These are the homosexuals. 9 David Victor Sam 512 is going to be subject to the type of commitments that demons that are stalking with light engage in while you're under the fake sun that's in front of your vehicle and it's coming toward me. They're stalking you, okay? And under no circumstances the evidence that you're not stalking include the fact that you don't look at the person that you are obsessed with. Your obsession is proven through that supernatural conduct. And Stater Brothers is being federally prosecuted while all of its demonic customers are targeting me. The Stater Brothers employees are going to prison, and that's justice while their demon-possessed customers are stalking and harassing me. And that's how Salvador is providing for the ongoing sex offense and terrorism that 9 David Victor Sam 512 engages in, and does so very nonchalantly. But she's getting prosecuted and Salvador is going to prison. That's the P.O.C. Stater Brothers, David Quinones is in here sharing in that sex offense where there's no son that would still be here. Like I'm documenting at 11 o'clock in the morning yesterday, where this entity is stalking me by the fire department. They provided evidence with Southwest Airlines stalking. When you're looking at this entity that's stalking in the path, doing a cartwheel in alignment to me, that's where Southwest Airlines was stalking in alignment to me at this same parking lot during the 11 a.m. hour. And then you have a vagina monitor like this, a homosexual that walks in on camera, gang stalking with Stater Brothers and molesting me with light, because they're triggered demons that have 2 seconds of thought in the moment. They're not thinking anything, because what they're not thinking is that they're being committed, and that's exactly what's happening with this body of evidence. This is the entity that's engaging in psychopathic behavior and furtherance of murdering someone. These are rituals that they engage in to psychologically torture and traumatize people before they murder them. None of that is happening to me. The entity has sacrificed itself, and third parties like 9 David Victor Sam 512 are being involuntarily committed. So are the homosexuals of the U.S. military. The ones that were stalking me, which would be, it's 7 o'clock, 8, 9, 2, 4 hours from now. The entity has the fake sun over me right here. And they're engaging in what is that barbaric, psychopathic circus environment where the parking lot is full of the people of the state. The fake sun is over my head right here, just like it is now. And the entity is engaging in what is flying over me by helicopter, stalking by Southwest Airlines like they're landing right here at the shopping center. And the entity is engaging in what is that conduct under the fake sun. Okay, that's P.O.C. When you're driving, you're not going to touch me with light. ED46U88 is the same pattern of conduct under a fake sun. They're demons, and they're in a circus environment. It's going to be used to have them involuntarily committed. And this is evidence that Amazon Prime hates you, and that's fine, because you can show how much you hate Amazon Prime by putting them out of business. Okay? This is P.O.C. The entity he's engaging in conspicuous surveillance, and he does so by also stalking me inside of the store. Psychopath stalking me in the bathroom this morning, stalking with noise. And this is not his real license plate. So let me show you his real license plate while the military is flying over the parking lot. License plate DFVD089. This is the P.O.C. Systematically, on more than one occasion, stalking me. So that is the basis of prison. That's the pattern of conduct. Sent over me, and this is where the entity is engaging in, and he is engaging in molestation of my person. While they are all psychopaths, they're all stalking and monitoring, and they all outwardly conduct themselves as though that's not the case. As I show you that pattern of conduct, this is the evidence supporting what will be massive involuntary commitments, okay, at every level. And this is, again, upon martial law, which is going to rudely interrupt this psychopathic community of demons that are engaging in the pattern of conduct, providing them the medical attention that they need as the demon possessed who are in fact mentally ill. P.O.C. It is currently 7:02 a.m. This is P.O.C. Crossing path on the device, stalking in the path on the device, doing so in the environment where the entity is stalking with impossible light, which is moving across this wall, while the entity is stalking in a grocery store. This is P.O.C. It's currently 8:32 a.m. The entity has a fake sun over me at Walmart. This is speaking to what everybody in the store is doing and the ongoing illusion created by the demons that are monitoring. So I'm inside of the store where everyone is keeping me under surveillance. Everyone knows where I'm at, who I am, by virtue of the evidence of this fake sun and the engineered light conduct. That's speaking to the fake sun that's reflecting, and it's so powerful that you can see it inside. It's the evidence of the entity that is stalking. That is Walmart. That is the entity that's stalking. But you already know that because Walmart is gang stalking me with helicopters throughout California, as I documented in Glendale, as I documented in Burbank, as I documented here in Ontario, as I documented in Upland, as I documented in Hesperia. This entity is engaging in what is stalking me by helicopter, just like I'm documenting at the library. This is what Walmart is engaging in while you're subject to what is that P.O.C. That's the impossible light activity you saw in Upland, California, outside, not inside of a building. You saw that outside while people were driving by, which has nothing to do with sunlight, and it doesn't have anything to do with sunlight while you're inside of the depths of a building. Demons that are engaged in criminal surveillance in the U.S. And this is the type of disgusting things. This is Memorial Day, USA. This is what Walmart is. Walmart is engaged in surveillance, and they sell you things, and they make money while they are present engaging in surveillance in the United States of America, which is the purpose of the corporate entity, the purpose of everyone that lives in the United States. The United States is maintaining a satanic, massive ritual regarding keeping everyone under surveillance while they are monitoring those that are called like myself, monitoring those that are different, that are not the demons. And they maintain the illusion of the Memorial Day, speaking to what is so-called freedom, but you're gang stalking at the same time. That's the illusion presented to you. All right, the fake sun is over me. This is P.O.C. Everybody in this store that is stalking in a building, they're all mentally ill. This is psychopathic pacing as you're looking at that context. And then they're mentally ill like it's not happening. And nobody is persuaded by that. These are the demons that maintain that ongoing system. This is P.O.C. and Walmart is not going to exist. Walmart's been going through a lot as far as the business, but Walmart's not done because they are anticipating. But I have yet to expose the terrorism that Walmart has been engaged in, like stalking with impossible light. It's P.O.C. Currently 8:34 a.m. where I'm capturing psychological torture on the inside of a store that's making money off of criminal surveillance and further into murdering me. P.O.C. All right, it is currently 9:14 a.m. and the entity is, as the evidence already shows, stalking inside of Walmart. So all this is evidence of disgusting, tacky, gross looking demons. They're all demons, and many of them are very disgusting in their appearance while they're stalking me, which you're setting yourself up to be embarrassed. I'm going to make sure everybody recognizes how gross you are while you're gang stalking. Sorry, I'm going to walk back through here. Is that okay? I can see my purse. Thank you. So the entity's engaged in stalking under the operation of this is all under the guise of Walmart running a business. And they're stalking inside of the store. It's psychotic. So whatever area I go to, that's where business builds up if they were not already stalking in the path, which is what the entity is engaging in. Walking through the emergency exit is a means of stalking with activity. They're doing so while they are pacing in and out of the store. They're doing so while they are targeting me with the light activity on the walls inside of the depths of a store, which will never cause the security guard or somebody working at the register or somebody that's inside making a purchase look like anything other than demons who are stalking. But this is how the system operates. And Walmart is engaging in what is that gang stalking system at the pharmacy area where you're looking at the line wrapped around. This is the entity that's engaging. I go to Stater Brothers at 6 o'clock in the morning when they open. This is why they have business waiting to bust into the doors of the grocery store right when they open, because I'm there in the morning. So they have what is the pharmacy busting with business. Everybody waiting there at the moment that they open and become available to pick up their prescriptions, because that's where I'm at. The entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct under the fake sun. It's 9:16 a.m. This is the mentally ill population that's engaging in what is fully exposed surveillance. This is speaking to the homosexuals that are very obvious with regard to stalking planes and helicopters, and these are the unintelligent, that is highly mentally ill people of the state who are demons, whose entire system of stalking you and monitoring your genitalia is fully exposed. Okay, P.O.C. License 9 Larry George Edward 917, stalking. And everyone else is at the Stater Brothers, excuse me, yes, at the Stater Brothers, but I'm at Walmart, and there is evidence before right now where the entity has this fake sun over me, where I'm at right now, in the middle of the afternoon. I juxtapose that with Stephanie Ortiz, who's going to prison, while the fake sun's over me at 1:17 in the afternoon, and it's over me at the roof of this Walmart, where it's over me right now at 9:17 a.m., and that's both during daylight savings time. So 2022 evidence remains scientifically relevant, and there will never be any reconciling, especially even with the illusion of daylight savings time, that would have the sun over this same venue, over the same person at the same venue for that duration of time, because it's suggesting that the sun is, under any circumstances, going to be here 10, 11, 4 hours later over the same location where I am standing at that. Walmart, you already know, is gang stalking by virtue of that the ridiculousness of the light activity is letting you know that they're severely mentally ill and that they're all demons. Stalking around the pharmacy area, stalking while getting in line, stalking while preparing the drugs to hand out at the pharmacy, and that is psychotic while they're stalking in line, staring at products on the aisle, and that's what I'm taking pictures of. Stalkers stalking behind me, stalking while I'm talking to this person, and they're stalking behind me, and they're monitoring while I'm walking through the aisles, just like when I'm outside, the fake sun is over me, and traffic is the means of stalking in my path. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is what is relevant regarding corporate entities like Walmart, who are going to be federally prosecuted. This is terrorism. With regard to how the U.S. government is maintaining surveillance by having stores, having neighborhoods, having venues where people are present, but they're not people, they're demons, and they are in the United States maintaining this surveillance system, and they are so mentally ill and they're so idiotic that is humiliated. Now they're just doing it and acting like they're not being exposed, and that is also evidence that's going to be used to have them committed. This is going to be a mass means of involuntarily committing the domestic terrorists who are demons. The fake sun is over me right now at 9:18 a.m. I'm capturing an image of that. This is P.O.C. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. The entity that's telling me that my prescription is ready is engaging, and merely I'm getting Motrin because of my tooth that just got worked on at the dentist, so no alarms here. Anyway, the entity's talking about helicopter, the person you're going to hear speaking right now. Okay. What do you need from me? I'm sorry?
The birthday?
11/14/83.
Last name?
Spencer. Right. What time is it? 9:24. That was quick. Thank you. What's your name? Carlos? Oh, Carlos. Thank you, Carlos. Carlos is subject to federal prison. I took a picture of all those that have achieved what is the ability to work at the pharmacy in Walmart, where the entity sounds with helicopter, because of the excellence of this public investigation. All right, the entity's flying over the fake sun is here. I showed you the depths where that impossible light, how impossible it is. No problem. And as I walk into the pharmacy area, a demon that's engaging with his gang stalking asks, "Is this the pharmacy?" And then commences the helicopter activity. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and the people of the state that are Walmart employees are going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 9:24 a.m. This entity has the fake sun at this same Walmart at 333. What's the address here? Do you know?
1333 North Manson.
After 6 p.m. All right. This is what I documented during daylight savings time already. This Walmart is surrounded with. They're already surrounded. So, stalking with helicopter activity is the conduct of the demons that are very much infuriated by such a spectacular loss, and the humiliation behind that, which is mentally ill conduct, because Walmart is also going to pay money, and the employees are subject to prison, including the patrons that are creating a paper trail. Anything else? Or something else also? Oh, patient, sure. Et cetera, all the ways in which it's more than just you stalking in a helicopter to make yourself feel better. You're going to prison. And there's a lot of, I can't write on there.
It starts after the line. So
After the line? Up here? Oh, thank you. There you go. Okay, so there's a lot more than what is a federal prosecution. The homosexuals of the U.S. military are... I sure do not. It's just ibuprofen, correct? Okay. And okay. It's more than just the homosexual of the U.S. military who have proven that the people of the state are gang stalking, but the entities engaged in that end is the entities doing so while pharmacy technicians are going to federal prison. Okay, and those are the casualties of criminal surveillance at a grocery store such as Walmart that's engaging in terrorism, and they resort to more acts of terrorism, which you're going to be penalized for, not only commitments, because you're acting like you're a law-abiding citizen who is sane and fit to be in any aspect of the medical field in the first place, but you're doing so while you're terrorizing somebody by stalking them by helicopters, because you are guilty of everything that I am proving. In fact, you're a demon. All right. The entities engaging in this at what is Walmart at 1333 North Mountain Avenue. Let me confirm that. Yeah, North Mountain Avenue, where the fake sun is over me at the front of the store, where the fake sun, I documented this in August of 2000 and, excuse me, go ahead. Am I in your way? Sorry. In August, I believe it's August 14th, 2020. It's on the record. Walmart has a whole playlist in order to prosecute and have committed and prosecute. Remember, the gang members that are stalking the light, they just get out of their car and come into the store and pace all around me. That's all they're doing. The ritual that Walmart's engaged in, the ritual that the people of the state come into Walmart to engage in, and they do so with helicopter activity. And the entity is engaging in that while they are hostile homosexuals, meaning I'm mad that you're telling everything. I'm mad that you're winning in this, and I'm going to stalk you in helicopter, which you can use again to put Walmart in that same pattern of conduct. And with regard to what are shutting down terrorists like the corporate entity Walmart that despises American citizens and terrorizes them, because that's exactly what Walmart is fully engaged in. This is P.O.C. The geniuses that are gang stalking inside of the store, their images are captured. They're maintaining a paper trail. The not only the transactions, not only the work schedule, the business records, the entity that is present on surveillance cameras both inside and outside of the store, where their cell phones are, all of technology that they use to keep American citizens under surveillance are going to be used to prosecute them. Who's gang stalking me at the time that the entity wants to engage in stalking in helicopter, just like they did in Upland, just like they did while I'm at the library last night, and they're going to prison. They're going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. Gang stalking on camera. You're on the shift during the time that I'm documenting. You're going to prison. All right, that's the P.O.C. The entities engage in this because they are engaging in the very criminal allegations that are already proven. And then you're talking about what are being committed. So you're not just going to be prosecuted as a criminal. You want to go to a mental institution, clearly. And that's exactly what you're going to manifest. All right, that's the pattern of conduct. This is not witchcraft. These are demons. And they've lost an abysmal loss. That's what this is. They were never magical. They're psychotic. This is P.O.C. The entity stalking with helicopter while Walmart is proven as a terrorist yet again. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:29 a.m. Hello. Oh, I just came back in to get this, but I can show you my receipt. You good? Because I shared it to the other lady. Thank you. You too. But yes, I did go to the dentist yesterday, and the reason why I'm not into telling it's not a big deal, but it's just the principle, and you have a right to privacy in the United States, but I don't have any, and that's something that is a part of what it is, my purpose, and so I understand that, and so that's why I'm going to the extent to explain. The entity has engaged in what are egregious acts of criminal defamation, while at the same time stalking me by helicopter at Walmart. Do you understand that everybody that's sat in that courtroom, in those courtrooms defaming my character, they're all going to prison? While these homosexuals lose control on an hourly, moment-by-moment basis. Why is the population stalking me inside of Walmart? Because everybody that's sat in those courtrooms defaming my character, they are going to prison. But nonetheless, the entity engaged in what is defaming me in ways that defy common sense. That wouldn't have been believed by any legitimate courtroom. It wouldn't have even happened if the government wasn't corrupt and engaging in surveillance. But more or less, that's why I'm speaking to the fact that this is a prescription given to me by my dentist. After I went to the dentist yesterday, so just to make sure I don't have any pain following up. So Motrin, Benadryl. So I don't have any secrets. So when you don't, you can be open like that. But nonetheless, This is what the entity is engaging in, and it is relevant to the ways in which this entity sought to defame my character. So that's why I'll include those details, which I do, as a matter of principle, find to be something that's within your. But I don't have any privacy, which is why I have to. The fact that I have to do that is why you're going to prison. That's why I'm going to sue you. That's why once you are paying me damages, that company's not going to exist anymore. All right, but this is the P.O.C. The fake sun is over me while the entity goes out of its way to prove that Walmart is stalking me. And Walmart is stalking at 1333 North Mountain Avenue, because gang stalking is not based on chronology. It's based on the vagina monitors that push carts and stalking me inside of the store. Doing so tacky, covered in cellulite, ashy, bad weeds, liposuction that's unprofitable, okay? Wrinkly, crusty skin. When I'm the one that's outside and you're coming in my presence and stalking me, stalking with light, doing so while you smell as though you have not touched any water in weeks. The entity's engaging in this conduct while you are reporting to work, stalking me. And the fake sun is the evidence of Walmart stalking. And that's exactly how federal law is going to operate regarding the unintelligent, satanic system of surveillance that the United States military, where the homosexuals themselves are stalking with helicopter activity, which they are giving me as evidence. They're not sneaky. They're not elite. They're not even intelligent. You're telling me that you're stalking, and that's how gang stalking operates. They can't engage in gang stalking you without your knowledge. They're idiotic, and they keep on doing it. This is the shutdown of the whole purpose of what the United States government has been engaging in, and it's the prosecution of terrorists who fill up the state of California. This is P.O.C. license CS-D8177, a Washington plate of an African-American male. That's gang stalking. They're all studying their devices, stalking in the store, studying their devices. They're all monitoring. Okay, even if they didn't have their devices in their back pocket or in their faces, they're all demons. And even if that weren't the case, the entity is prosecuted by virtue of the impossible light activity and the fake sun and the government stalking. This is P.O.C. It is currently, hold on one second, let me get the time. That's all activity creation that you hear. There we go. It is currently 9:32 a.m. And you're mindful of the other locations where I'm at the same time. Never come into Mountain Avenue at the Walmart, and this is where the sun is. Okay, so and the evidence that is speaking to that, which is the sun that's over me at the same location at the end of the day, which is the pattern of conduct. That's what's happening at the Upland Public Library. That's what's happening at the Ontario Civic Center. That's what's happening at Woodside Senior Apartments over Tracy Banks' apartment, number 51 specifically, that is facing what is south. And that's what's happening at the OVITT Family Community Library. Okay, this is what's happening while I am in my apartment in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens, in apartment 1806 number 6, and at my office 1810 North Alvarado Street. That's the pattern of conduct that's proven, and that's the entity that's gang stalking, and that's where homosexuals, their demon possession and their homosexuality is a product of their demon possession, and their stupidity is a product of their demon possession. You are inherently inferior, and you were never going to contend with the Holy Spirit. This is a trap, and the homosexuals are going to be involuntarily committed, and they're going to prison, and it makes up the people of the state. This is P.O.C. It's currently 9:33 a.m. Alrighty, I'm also going to prosecute Walmart Pharmacy and all of the employees working for that pharmacy that are gang stalking with the U.S. military. That's, by the way, you can see stalking by commercial plane hovering over the parking lot. Fake sun is over me, and the entity is gang stalking by the demons that are maintaining light activity at the same P.O.C. Even Omnitrans is here under the fake sun gang stalking. And the fake sun's not in the window, the fake sun is here, and then Omnitrans gains under, that's Omnitrans that's being prosecuted. But the entity is engaging in the P.O.C., and they're doing so while they are engaging in what is stalking as a pharmacy, okay? So while you're engaging in it, there are laws, privacy laws, that Walmart Pharmacy and the pharmacy technicians are in violation of, and I'm going to prosecute them individually and as the entity for that. They are each individually violating those privacy laws, and they are, as employees of Walmart and the Walmart Pharmacy, violating those privacy laws, and that is also what the U.S. government provides evidence against them to that end, and the people of the state that are all violating your privacy while you pick up any prescription at the Walmart Pharmacy, where the fake sun and the engineer light and the people of the state are monitoring you, monitoring your device and everything that the demons are talking about, even as they are preparing it. And it is an illusion that they don't know that you're picking up your that the homosexuals are picking up their prescriptions for their HIV treatments, okay? That is not a matter of any privacy. They're engaged in what is monitoring, and that is what is a violation of your rights under local, state, and federal laws, and Walmart is going to be prosecuted for that. Okay, because it doesn't matter if I'm picking up vitamin C tablets, you're violating my privacy. And by virtue of that, by virtue of the P.O.C, I'm going to prosecute Carlos, and I'm going to prosecute all the rest of them that make up what is also Walmart, the pharmacy that's prosecuted. You see the commercial plane hovering over? This is the unintelligent ongoing admission regarding your violating privacies in the medical field while Walmart is maintaining a pharmacy that is engaged in criminal surveillance, terrorism, and psychological torture at that, while they're engaged in federal stalking. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:39 a.m. Just so that you know, Walmart Pharmacy is engaging in the pattern of conduct, and that's why I'm being targeted while in line, because there's no exception there. I'm not enjoying my privacy while I'm engaging in business and in conversation and in the presence of those at the pharmacy area inside of that venue. It's the exact opposite, and there is no exception. And I'm going to prosecute those, just like Walmart Pharmacy and those demon-possessed pharmacy technicians, for violating privacy, which is the reality regarding the medical practice in the United States and in California. They engage in what is criminal defamation. They're violating your privacy. They are laughing at you while you're picking up your prescriptions for your burning genitalia. They're engaging in all manner of violating your rights, and I'm going to prosecute them for it. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 9:40 a.m. under the fake sun that's serving to prosecute the Walmart Pharmacy for violating laws, and it's also going to be their removal. You're not going to be in any area of the medical field. I don't think Carlos realizes that. But he's done, and they're all done. As I document you, as I encounter you, you're stalking with the police, you're going to prison. You're monitoring gang stalking me in the medical field. You're done with the practice, any area in that field. As I document gang stalking police officers, you are done in law enforcement. It's not just right now. It's not just prosecuting you. You are done. Your future career, you're going to prison in the first place, but you're going down as a terrorist, and nobody in the U.S. is ever going to, as a matter of law, you are permanently done with that. The entity, and that's the same with the medical field, especially with the medical field. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:41 a.m. Alrighty, engaging in criminal summoning, the entity starting and stopping sirens, because I'm recording right now. So I'm taking pictures of the people of the state that are stalking with the entity that is sounding sirens. I'm taking pictures. This is at Walmart. Walmart's engaged in criminal summoning. So Walmart is a staple regarding criminal surveillance, and the psychopaths are pacing in and out of the entrance doors on surveillance cameras as well. While the entity is at 9:53 a.m., fake sun over me. 6AJE436 is included in that. Engaging in criminal summoning, sounding sirens while they're all this is a ritual. This is mentally ill behavior. They're all pacing around me. This is the ritual, and they think that they're engaging in something spiritually significant at all. They were never magical. They were never effective. It's merely the wicked who are in bondage, engaging in demonic behavior. They're demon possessed. This is not magic. They're going to be committed involuntarily. You see the entity stalking by planes over the Walmart. Pharmacy technicians are going to prison. The entity stalking me by helicopter inside. You think that's funny? Pharmacy technicians are going to prison. They're violating my privacy. It's a matter of public information that I picked up a prescription for Motrin while they're engaging in the pattern of conduct. Pharmacy technicians are going to prison. This is P.O.C. That's the reward of the wicked who are not magical. The entity's mentally ill. They're not understanding it. They will not also, because they're mentally ill, because they're demons, and those demons will not have a rest until their bodies, the vessels that they're using, are in prison, are in facilities where they will be confined involuntarily, because that's literally what's wrong with them. They think that they're doing something. All they're doing is giving me evidence over and over again about every aspect of surveillance in the U.S. so that you know. And that's why the Lord God has me reporting it to you, by the way. Okay? Because this is for the world to know at this time. Not because that Satan's going to be successful. This is clearly wildly unsuccessful. All right? And I'm also getting the fake sun. This is criminal summoning at 1333 North Mountain Avenue in Ontario, California, P.O.C. All right, Walmart, the corporation, and the people of the state, including the license plates that I'm documenting, and the Ontario International Airport, all of the airlines, and the U.S. military sharing in sexual assault and battery. So you're going to prosecute accordingly at every level for sexual violence. The entities molested me with impossible light while they're monitoring, and they're doing so. Again, I'm standing in the shade, adjusting my backpack. These are psychopaths. And so everybody that's working inside of, I've documented this before, the entity's talking by helicopter in the parking lot, and everybody inside of that Walmart working there is subject to prison. Okay, but you're talking about what's even more than that. In Burbank, when the entity's flying over my head by helicopter, everybody is at a register. They're conducting purchases. They're walking around on surveillance cameras. They're in the parking lot. They're identified while they're making purchases in real time. And already the government, that police department, that police chief, the U.S. military, they're already automatically identified. You're talking about, I'm getting the gang stalkers who are the people who are stalking in relevant position, and the corporate entity itself, Walmart, that's going to compensate for the incalculable harms. Okay, the entity that's engaging what is violating my privacy while I'm at Walmart and I'm subject to surveillance. That's why that pattern exists. And the entity's doing so with regard to sexual violence. So I want to document that at 10:01 a.m. Where's the sun over OVITT Library or Fontana Library or Chino Branch Library for that matter, or the Upland Public Library? Because it's over me at 1333 North Euclid Avenue, where the Ontario International Airport and all airlines are sharing in that sex offense. I'm going to prosecute them. This is the entity that is literally going to be broke. They're going into poverty as an entity. They're going to be involuntarily committed as well as an entity. They're being prosecuted as terrorists. And the entity's engaging in that while they are all under the fake sun. There's nothing magical about it. There's nothing spiritually significant about it. They're all the wicked who have expired. Not only with regard to their psychological issues, that's an expiration date regarding your sanity, but also with regard to the entity that is stalking, like Paul Larry 745. He's mentally handicapped. Okay, he's got a handicap with regard to the DMV recognizing it. He's gang stalking with the U.S. military that's just flying over the Walmart. Walmart has no intention whatsoever. While engaging in this level of ongoing obvious criminal activity, Walmart has they have no plans. This is how fatal, this is how right in the moment, gun-ho, full throttle, I'm all in for dying, I'm all in for stalking, license 9 VAV 201 included, with regard to what's going to happen in court as I prosecute and exhaust Walmart. Okay, those are some very deep pockets. And it is justice that Walmart ceases to exist, not only because of its poor services and its reputation across this nation, but you don't know what hasn't been addressed, that Walmart's engaged in surveillance, criminal surveillance. And it's no mystery, by the way, that Walmart, terrorists, demons under the fake sun, a demonic company, they're out here a proponent of this illusion regarding climate change. Oh yeah, they know all about that illusion regarding climate change while the fake sun sits over their stores and their gang stalking. But I'm going to prosecute and embarrass the corporate entity within the four walls of a tribunal. And it is already being gathered in evidence on my social media, which you can identify. You can find it online right now. So anyway, the entity is stalking, and there's no sun over any of the libraries. There's no sun that's going to be, like I'm documenting, well, all the plethora of places while the entity is just providing evidence. This is, again, I'm going to prosecute it under every area of law. Walmart that's employing immigrants. Walmart that's facilitating domestic terrorism amongst immigrants. You're going to be liable under every area. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:05 a.m. Okay, this is just a reminder to those that subscribe to the demonic acts of what are divination and tarot card readings. And this is not about hurting anybody's feelings. There's plenty of likable people that are engaging in that which is ungodly. And you even refer to God and the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit doesn't have anything to do, which scripture clearly delineates. But those tarot card readers that are speaking demonic, violent things that are never going to happen regarding a demon, regarding someone that's engaged in targeting me and is also, again, having a change of heart, meaning, and nobody cares about your emotions. This is a prosecution, but having a change of heart merely because this demon found himself being unsuccessful. Somebody that actually, I will say, looked at the tea leaves and took an assessment. Reasonable. Oh, okay, this is probably not going to work on her. This is not going well, and this is not going to end well for me and for everybody else. This is one that is different in that regard only, but this is nonetheless a wicked person that has no inheritance like with me. There has no presence in my future. I will not violate my free will. There's nothing in scripture that says I have to be with this demon, Jason Fields, somebody that has been having sex with my relative. I don't know that you have thought about how disgusting and ungodly that is. It's literally demonic. That's the next thing to incestuous conduct. While he's been engaged in, that's him and his issue, because he chose Satan. That's his problem.
He's the one that has forfeited what could have been a different path in his life. I am the blessing he will never, ever experience. And I've said that so many times, but these are demons that are out here reading tarot cards, speaking what is out of the pit of hell. And also those that are not picking up cards, but they are equally monitoring spirits, talking about that which is not going to happen. While you're all up in my energy, while you're speaking about that which is not coming from the Holy Spirit whatsoever. In fact, it is disgusting. It's nauseating. The notion of this demon that ever touched my mother's genitalia. I don't care whether she's my real mother or not. She's the only one that I've known as a mother. And that did not stop or deter Jason Fields, who did not know that at the time when he was having rampant sexual activity with her. That my husband is not somebody that's ever engaged in homosexuality. Regardless of the fact that you repent and you come to Christ, that's fine and that's beautiful. You are not my spouse, though. And I know this. This is somebody that's been engaged in targeting me, stealing my money, having gay sex, engaging in these same gay sex rituals, stalking me with these homosexuals right now, that's engaged in what is having a change of heart. And that's only because he saw that it was not going to work. And the rest of these mentally ill demons persisted in that which is not going to work out well for them. And you're all going to witness that. But this is not different for Jason Fields. This is somebody that's not going to avoid what I am finding under terrorism. You don't avoid prison. You certainly are not sharing in what belongs to me. You stole it. And then you were having tantric sex, which is entirely demonic and satanic, out of hell. You are a disgusting person. On top of that, you were doing it praying to Satan. With you are so well inclined with her genitalia. It is disgusting. No, those are issues he's going to live with for the rest of his life, including choosing over me. And by the way, doing that to any woman, under any circumstances. This is not a man. This is not marriage material. This is no future friend. There will be no reconciliation. And to that end, I'm prefacing this. This is the entity that's engaging what is puncturing my feet in the middle of the night, because I'm walking around on my left foot. There's a hole in my sock, and I have on thick socks, so they're not just going to have a hole just coming out of nowhere. And there's a hole in my sock, and I'm also, where that hole is located is one of my baby toe has it's reddened. The entity is puncturing my feet. So somebody at the Ontario Town Square while I'm sleeping at night, where you already know who's responsible for it, and it includes Jason Fields, regardless of his having an about face, which was self-serving, because he didn't find any problem leaving a woman out to die. No cold-blooded demon like that. No psychopath. No sexual psychopath is coming back around. I don't care about you being sorry. I know you're sorry. You can keep that apology. We will never be friends, period. There are things that you do not come back from, regardless of the forgiving, loving nature and the sacrifice that Christ has made. That is not what requires me to have any obligation to you. Don't get it confused. Please don't, because it's never going to happen. And I am still suffering the consequences of the wicked things that this homosexual Jason Fields decided to do, because he is for sale and his anus is for sale, marrying old women like Tracy Banks. And he is still in that ungodly situation, stalking and harassing me. Okay, this is somebody that thinks that you can engage in any sort of chicanery, whatever. They have all sorts of fantastic fantasies in their mind. Oh, they're going to trick me into doing this, and then they're going to manipulate that, and that's when they're going to they're going to get the money, and they're going to run it. All types of psychotic things. And even if this demon, Jason Fields, really believes and really in his heart, wherever that is, actually is in love with it, and absolutely irrelevant. It has to be reciprocated. It has to be received, and it will not be. It will never happen. My love story will not include someone that tried to kill me and first married my relatives and left me out to die. Knowing that, with both eyes open, you chose to do that. So you're talking about, yes, I'm evil. I tried to kill you. I stole from you. I left you out there, but I've had a change of heart and I don't care about none of that. You can keep it. Don't care about none of that. So the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct, and my feet are being punctured at night. This is no husband material. So let's bring that into the 2026 right now. There will be no reconciliation. And it is entirely triggering to hear demons on the internet speaking that which is literally, I would just say harassment to my ears. It's harassment to my ears. While the entity is engaged in surveillance on YouTube, you are under surveillance. The entity is engaged in the pattern of conduct. The entity is engaged in monitoring. The entity is engaged in monitoring me and targeting through these false messages. Okay. But I just want to speak something, because I'm not going to mince words with these demons that are on the internet monitoring, calling yourself a prophet. No, you're not. No, you're not. And I see you in my energy, and you keep it up, and I'm going to call you out by name. But there will be no reconciliation with anybody that had sex with Tracy Banks. I've said it before. It's on my X feed, and I'm not playing. I'm not going to go back and say, oh, just kidding. I changed my mind about this. Oh, I got so much money. I feel so good now. It's been so long now that I chose. That's not going to happen. It's a matter of principle. You are a certain quality of a person to be in my circle. Somebody that would never engage in that is who I would reconcile with. Somebody that saw through the deception of the enemy, the seduction of Jezebel, is who I would marry. That's who's worthy. That's the man that I will subject myself to, that I would submit to before God. That is not Jason Fields. It will never happen. And he's been lying to those of you that are supporting it. You're sitting up supporting someone that has tried to kill another woman. You can be as forgiving as you want to. It's not your situation, and it's also not biblical. It's not supported. There is no kingdom spouse nonsense. That's not in my Bible. It's not happening. And by the way, he is not anything like my Lord and Savior, who gave his life for me and has never subjected me to harm. I'm still outside in danger's way. And what is this so-called kingdom spouse doing? He's sitting up watching. It will never happen. It's never going to happen. Let me say it one more time. For the demons in the back, tell Jason Fields, it will never, ever happen. Because I'm still getting needles in the bottom of my feet at nightfall. You should be embarrassed as a man. You're not a man. You're not husband. You're not future husband material. You need to go find somebody else whose mother you did not have sex with, who doesn't have to look at you and remember that over and over again. This has nothing to do with being bitter or not forgiving. This has to do with the audacity of what Satan did and you permitted him to do, and then think that you are arrogant enough. That the fact that you're arrogant enough to think that I owe you. I don't owe you anything. You're not getting anything other than a prosecution from me. This is P.O.C. The entity's puncturing my feet. The same homosexuals that are doing cartwheels in these commercial planes over Walmart. They're going to prison for this. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:17 a.m. All right, it is currently 12:49 p.m. And you'll recall the entity that is maintaining a fake sun is engaging in what is criminal surveillance. And this is where you're looking at the venues of a government that's going to be defunded. No senior center. You're not supposed to be engaging in surveillance, criminal activity amongst the senior citizens in any city. The entity that's funding that is stalking with the U.S. military that went from flying over Walmart at Mountain and 5th Street under the fake sun that was over that Walmart, over the top of my head. And that's where you see it right here as I walk out from where you see everybody stalking. And it includes omnitrans gang stalking. Okay, omnitrans is not helping anybody. Omnitrans incriminates, just like the homosexuals of the U.S. military. Omnitrans can't help anybody. Omnitrans is showing why every person, whether they don't have two pennies to rub together or whether they're a wealthy business owner that's engaged in what is maintaining a multi-million billion-dollar business, I'm going to prosecute you. You're going to be treated the same under the law. And that's if your business even continues to exist, like Omnitrans will not. All right, they are too much of a threat while they engage in this level of impunity. They engage in gang stalking and conspiring murder of people with complete disregard for federal prison, because that's where Omnitrans employees, their employee numbers, they're going to prison, as I documented them stalking with the U.S. military. This is P.O.C. There's no sun over the Upland Public Library where the developmentally challenged, okay, the physically handicapped are dragging their body parts to gang stalk, okay, under a fake sun. That's Satan. P.O.C. All right, the video where you are looking at the fake sun that's over the top of my head, that's the zenith position. It is impossible that the zenith of the sun is at the top of my head at 215 East C Street at the Page One Cafe Inn. This is the same location where I'm documenting the fake sun in Securitas, the same company that Leo, a gang stalker conspiring my murder with the U.S. military, that is stalking in commercial planes like I documented today already, and doing so as I return from the venue of Walmart, and while I am in Upland, showing you how the U.S. military is stalking with the entire state of California, and that the state of California is stalking with regard to what is the identification of an idiotic, scientifically impossible, irreconcilable environment such as the fake sun, where many illusions are unveiled and various levels of corruption are exposed while I am prosecuting gang stalking. And there is much that is unearthed while the entity is engaging in this criminal pattern of conduct against me. There's a lot that's happening at the same time. Okay, what I.I.S is doing with regard to the pattern of conduct, they're in San Bernardino County. They are engaging in what are acts of
quote unquote law enforcement, and this is the federal government, that's engaging in the pattern of conduct simultaneously. And it is, like you have seen, criminal summoning. The police that have what are interests contrary to the American people. How is that? Because you are subject to what are the execution of the duties of an officer when you're in violation of the law. So this is where you have the traffic stop, you have a DUI stop, you have what is an investigation where you know all the demons do is line around a building, have helicopter activity and tape and say that they're investigating something. All they're doing is gang stalking. And I'm going to prosecute them. They're going to be committed with that evidence that's sitting on the record. But the entities essentially just engage in, oh, well, we're just going to put up tape and be there and say, hey, we're investigating, and nobody questions that. This is a surveillance system. When the entity is engaging in what is, at the federal level, ICE is in the same environment. They are engaging in what is picking up the illegal immigrants. Even, by the way, those that are subject to deportation, they're also legally here, engaging in illegal activity with the U.S. military, who are simultaneously gang stalking with ICE, who is conducting these raids and abducting, some people say, arresting, others argue, under the authority of federal law pursuant to deportation. Okay, under Mr. Trump's administration. Some refer to it as a regime. Nonetheless, the entity is engaging in this conduct simultaneously while the criminal surveillance system is underway. There's a fake sun over the Pentagon in another state. There's a fake sun over the head of the FBI. What is he talking under? What's he talking about? What's the substance of that? What's the veracity of everything that he is stating, and what's happening at the White House under the fake sun? And how come NASA doesn't know anything about it? How come NASA hasn't stated anything about it? This is what is unearthed with regard to the pattern of conduct and the multiplicity of illusions, while the entity is maintaining multiple levels of corruption, while those that even have contrary interests, they link up together with regard to targeting. It's very unsafe for those that are in my position that are being targeted by both those that are of the federal government, those that are of the population that are supposedly at risk for being deported, but those immigrants are gang stalking. They are sitting outside looking for work, and they're engaging in the pattern of conduct while they're also on the lookout for ICE. ICE that would be under the same fake sun. ICE that is representing the same criminal pattern of conduct. The demons that are engaging in the cartwheels in commercial airline planes that do not have any passengers on them while they're dipping and diving like that. There is no plane that you've ever gone on, taken off from the airport, is what would happen also. Not what the entity's doing while they're targeting me throughout the cities. And also engaging in any cartwheels and doing U-turns. Those are clearly that's the entity that's stalking me in commercial planes. Very highly unintelligent, never designed to be scrutinized with logic and common sense. And also checked with what are literally the business records of that airport. That's going to be thoroughly, it's already being prosecuted and the airport's being shut down. But nonetheless, that's the same federal government as well, the U.S. military. You have the many departments of the federal government that are engaging in this criminal surveillance system while they're simultaneously maintaining many things that you're looking and listening to and learning about on the news while I'm being gang stalked at the same time. So I just want to be clear, the immigrants are gang stalking while ICE is engaging in that same pattern of conduct, while the entity is over the sky space where, for example, ICE is conducting a raid. The U.S. military are engaging in gang stalking in commercial planes and helicopters. This is combining all the multiple levels of the ongoing pattern of conduct, but the ongoing many illusions that are existing amongst us, what Satan is doing, and he's doing all of it at the same time. Okay? I just want to bring that to your attention. Now, the video that I showed is showing the fake son that left with me to Stater Brothers, left with me to Walmart, somewhere where I have not been. Oh, good. But I've been there before, and they're on the record, and it's nothing new, and it just shows that there is no such thing as a statute of limitations with regard to surveillance, and why would there be? The crime is never ceasing to exist, and even if you were to argue that, they definitely restarted the clock while I'm being gang stalked, definitely today. And the entity's engaging in what is stalking in these obvious manners, and then keeping the fake sun when I go right back to where Abby is gang stalking inside of the senior center, where they're flying over the senior center. She's in there representing the OVITT Family Community Library, gang stalking me. While she's inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, she's equally gang stalking me. She's systematically doing so as an employee, just like Adam Tuckerman, just like her boss, Sean Thrasher. And all three are relevant. That's federal prison, systematic engagement in the pattern of conduct, and the entity is putting Adam Tuckerman, I was calling him Andy Tuckerman yesterday, so pay attention to that. It's not Andy, his name is Adam. Adam Tuckerman is subject to prison while the entity keeps a fake son that lives up in public library. And how are you going to help Adam? Are you going to take a picture of the son that's over the roof of the up in public library while I'm here, which will require more than one son? Adam's going to prison under all circumstances. And the cartwheeling, U-turning, dipping and diving demons that in the commercial planes are putting Adam in prison. There's no way for Adam to escape that. And it's the same as you go through the same analysis for everyone that has engaged in what is gang stalking me and has encountered the ongoing online federal prosecution. This is the entity that's engaging in this P.O.C. and that fake son that's over now 215 E.C. Street, where it is present rising and where I've also documented its present setting. The College of Laverne University of Law is simultaneously being prosecuted. The Ontario City Council is simultaneously being prosecuted. The City of Ontario, which is the gang stalking city workers, the demons that are gang stalking in dumpster trucks and in utility vehicles and flashing lights at both ends of the street, engaging in what is working with the city by flashing light activity like the tree trimmers and the demons like graffiti protective, a bunch of gang members that are stalking in their vehicles and are showing how they are associated with the City of Ontario. They're all being prosecuted. All of it is at the same time. In the same way that at the same time you're witnessing varying levels of corruption. The entities engaging in this pattern of conduct, and this is the ongoing development, if you will, as you're seeing pieces of a puzzle that are coming together regarding what Satan is doing. The bigger picture is it's not so much even what Satan is doing, because Satan is only doing what he's permitted to do, and it serves the Lord God's purposes before his coming, his return. And the entity has literally been humiliated. What are they doing at Walmart? What were they doing? Those demons are going, I left and they're going to prison. And then the next day, the sun's not going to be anywhere over that Walmart, where the entity was inside acting a fool, stalking with a helicopter. Does that make you feel better? Because the demon at the pharmacy, he's going to prison for that. But these demons don't care about that. The federal government, this is the tribulation. These are the birth pangs of tribulation. These are the demons that are subservient to a beast system. They are under the cutthroat regime. They're subject to it. While they're gang stalking me, I'm enforcing it. And they have literally humiliated themselves. I'm not under any of this. I'm prosecuting it because you tried to bring this against me and you don't have any authority. This is satanic. This is spiritual. You don't have authority. The entities engaging in this, it works against the devil's children, not against the Lord God's children. And that's law. The entities engaging in that conduct, and the fake son that you see over my head is the fake son that's following over me as I am simultaneously remaining at the Upland Public Library, while I am remaining at this location until sunset, while I am en route to Upland Public Library and from Upland Public Library at the same time, while the entity is maintaining what is the natural environment, would state that the sun is 3 hours ahead, or excuse me, the sun is over people 3 hours ahead of us on the East Coast and in the South, like in Florida, like I often use as an example. What is over there? Well, it's over the top of my head in its zenith. It's reflecting off a windshield. It's not in Florida, reflecting off of anybody's windshield right here in Ontario where it's rising over me. Okay, this is the entity that's fully exposed regarding the whole purpose of what the United States government has been engaged in and is continuously engaged in, is serving massive surveillance. And this is the outright betrayal, the joke, and what is ultimately the weak and vulnerable position that the United States is in by virtue of all of its enemies learning its secrets, those that the United States government targets American citizens with, and targets those outside of the United States with, and those that don't know anything about it. And that's not my doing either, because you should not have targeted me. The United States that has engaged in sacrificing itself, and they're so focused on targeting all these other people that their time is up. Their time is up. You're talking about scrambling. And you still don't know what you should prioritize at this scrambling. This is what they're doing while you're stalking me. Oh, you don't know how to prioritize. You don't understand what your priorities should be at this point in history, at this point in time. But the entity is gang stalking me nonetheless, and the entity that has the fake son over me, that is the evidence, because everybody that I'm going to document via podcast, keep taking any pictures, everybody is stalking under that fake son. And everybody that, for example, let me show you how this works. Bill Velto, this entire city of Upland, is already prosecuted by virtue of the evidence because it is not over me anywhere in Ontario and over the Upland Public Library or over the Upland Veterans Monument or over the Upland City Hall or the parking lot where I've captured that fake sun until sunset. This is P.O.C. It's currently 1:09 p.m. All right, 1:19 p.m. You will see the same mentally ill pattern, demonic possession, psychopathic pacing in and out of what is hosting the pattern of conduct in relevant position. That is the Ontario City Council at 303 East B Street. The demons are walking out while the demons of the City of Ontario are maintaining a vehicle right in front under the fake sun that's over my head at this time at 1:19 p.m. The evidence is showing that it's simultaneously maintained everywhere else. This is how you know that the City of Ontario, the Ontario City Council, funding terrorism, such as the maintenance of the City Council, the maintenance of the venues of the City of Ontario, obviously the Ontario International Airport that is pacing. This is mentally ill. This is the entity that's maintained, the mentally ill that have maintained the operation of a city for criminal surveillance, and all the demons are, the mentally ill are being put out of the positions. Vehicle license 1624445 is exhibiting what is that ongoing criminal pattern of conduct while under the fake sun, maintaining the maintenance of peculiarized light. This is exactly what's happening at Walmart. You're going to look at that video and those images, fake sun over me. I.I.S, this business, is gang stalking with light activity, and then Omnitrans comes, engages in what is a light activity under that fake sun at the entrance where they're pacing in and out of a business. This is the mentally ill behavior where the demons are maintaining this psychopathic behavior. Their ritual is under that fake sun in that engineer light. Well, they're monitoring you. They're monitoring everything, and this is a population of demons that are monitoring me. So now what you're doing is you're tying into government bodies, you're tying into corporate entities that are going to be prosecuted under the law. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct, and the Ontario City Council, this is the federal prosecution, Paul Leon, he's going to prison. But vehicle number 4226, that's literally criminal conduct that you're subject to as you walk into the City Hall. The absurdity of this corruption is speaking to prison. Okay, the City Hall employees are demons, they're pacing in and out, communication devices in hand, right? Their name tags connected on their person, they're gang stalking on the clock. These are all employees that are terrorists, and their salaries are a means of funding terrorism, and all that's coming to an end. Okay, this is the P.O.C. It is currently, you'll see this represented in the images, reflected in the images, where the City of Ontario is indeed a domestic terrorist. And Paul Leon is not ignorant about the ongoing terrorism underway with the U.S. military is what he's engaged, that's who he's engaging in it with while they're flying over the Ontario City Hall, where he knows, and the venue, the city is also aware of the fact that there is no plane activity that should be maintained in that level, and that would also be a part of an agreement between the city as well. It would be reflected in that, and it's also a matter of what are not planes with passengers on them, engaging in what is doing U-turns over the City Hall, engaging in what is dipping and diving and doing cartwheels over the City Hall, while the entity is maintaining a fake sun over the City Hall. This is the shutdown of that venue. This is the entity that's demons are pacing in and out of the Ontario City Hall, which is a means of terrorism. This is P.O.C. The employees are stalking in the path, communication devices in hand, monitoring vagina in the bathroom is what they anticipate on doing. Right, this is P.O.C. Ooh. The light activity is underway, so that's what's coexisting with what I'm documenting in real time. I have a question. What time does the City Hall close?
Close Monday to Thursday, 7:30 to 5:30. Fridays we close at 5.
Oh, okay, thank you. Alrighty, this is bathroom monitoring by the Ontario City Hall. This is and the City of Ontario, the employees with the municipality that are stalking on the roads and the highways, stalking in venues such as Starbucks, which I documented as well, stalking in the library, which I've documented, stalking at the museum, stalking while I am in the grocery store, and they are maintaining ongoing criminal surveillance. They're engaging in that with regard to monitoring my vagina. This is P.O.C. This is all activity creation, and these are the mentally ill. It's underway inside of a building that's associated with the government, the Ontario City Hall. This is where the mentally ill, the demon-possessed, are gang stalking. That's P.O.C. No matter how jovial, no matter how friendly, no matter how seemingly ignorant and blissful, the fake sun is going to have the entity that's going to be subject to involuntary commitments.
It's always a good thing, right?
Alrighty, that's the pattern of conduct. This is where Paul Leon's office is located. Paul Leon and everybody else on that city council where the entity is maintaining plain activity over the venue. That's where no jolly conversation is going to supersede as evidence. And nobody's ignorant under the fake sun either. This is the P.O.C. This is mentally ill behavior, psychopathic pacing. This is P.O.C. It is currently 1:24 p.m. This is a sex offender in alignment to the bathroom where ongoing surveillance is underway. And Paul Leon is a violent sex offender. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, the pattern of conduct is the same exact P.O.C. The entity that is monitoring evidence, that is hostile psychopaths that arrive in helicopters over my head. The entities engage in that same self-detrimental conduct while having fecal matter on display inside of the bathroom stall inside of the Ontario City Hall. This is how Paul Leon and the City Council and the so-called ladies, those are demons, they're not ladies, but how the ladies would like to, oh, pretty flowers in such a clean office, but fecal matter is spread on the floor on tissue displayed in the bathroom that you use. This is an entity that's engaging what is harassment. These are demons that are obsessed with me, and they're also hostile. And the entity that engages in stalking by helicopter does the same, accomplishes the same purpose in their sick minds. I'm going to leave fecal matter for you to see because you're going in the bathroom and you're telling everybody that I'm monitoring you, which I am, but I'm mad that you're telling them, and I'm going to engage in what is harassing you in any microaggressive manner that I have. This is the entity that's engaged in harassment. Period. But this is what you're going to see next to Paul Leon's face, his image, and how unfit he is with regard to monitoring in bathrooms. Okay, so the fecal matter you see on the floor, I want you to take a look at the face of Paul Leon because he's the one that's going to have that swiped all over his name and his face. He is leaving office while he's keeping my vagina under surveillance. This is P.O.C. and this is a reflection on the filthy cockroaches that are vagina monitors. Paul Leon and everyone on the Ontario City Council and everybody in the city of Ontario that are exposed as a bunch of sex offenders who are unfit, not only mentally, but because of the criminal pattern of conduct, which is mentally ill behavior. These are the demon-possessed that engage in these tactics that are all showing a reflection of them. That's the P.O.C. It's currently 1:27 p.m. where the entity engages in that ongoing, very heavily predictable pattern. That's P.O.C. Ontario Senior Center with the employees of the city. Now, this is where you're learning a lot about psychopathy, okay? Because recall the conversation that's going on the inside of the city hall. Oh my God! Oh yeah! They're passing out flowers to each other and they're walking around oblivious or seemingly oblivious to what is the targeted individual documenting them for gang stalking, which is how the entity is supposed to conduct itself. Even while they're approaching their death, their end, they will to the very end, because of this idiotic concoction that they came up with, act like nothing's happening. While they suffer, they will act like nothing's happening. And as you're seeing, it is not evidence that it's not happening. They're going to be committed with their behavior. This is P.O.C. It's currently 1:39 p.m. (1:43 p.m.) While the senior citizens cross path, while the same gang stalkers of the city of Ontario exit the senior center, in operation of their devices, they're gang stalking together. This criminal enterprise is being shut down, like they're being defunded. So there won't be a city hall and a senior center and an OVITT library, a city of Ontario library, to engage in surveillance and terrorism. All right, and Paul Leon is accepting or receiving a paycheck for being a terrorist. All of that's coming to an end. It's ridiculous. All of that's coming to an end. These are gang stalkers. And Paul Leon's being prosecuted for facilitating terrorism. That's a federal charge. He's being prosecuted for it. This is P.O.C. All right, they walk out the same time that the plane activity, planes that have no business are not going to be heard over here. It's the U.S. military that they're engaging in terrorism with, and this is going to be stripped of all funding. This is letting you know the purpose of having fecal matter in display in the bathroom stall that you anticipate I'm going to use. the intention behind that. Okay, that's there, and that's okay because Paul Leon's going to be eating fecal matter. Okay, that's essentially what the purpose of his position is that he does not have. Okay, he's sinking in fecal matter. It's really a projection, but it's getting to while the entity's stalking over this venue, the senior center, the John Stewart. These are senior citizens, the City of Ontario Library. And what are they doing in Upland, California? The absurdity of what they're engaged in. And they're triggered while I speak that, while they forget about everybody else that's being prosecuted at the same time. The gang members of the City of Ontario that are gang stalking, crossing paths. And they're going to prison, too. These are bums. They're going to prison. They're going to federal prison. All right, that's P.O.C. They're under the fake sun in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, monitoring my vagina. They're going to prison where sex offenders belong. And they're going to prison while they are on the record as employees. No mystery about who they are, the hours that they're here, when I'm documenting them, the malice and impunity with which they do it, including right now, while Paul Leon is sinking in real time in fecal matter. And he's being prosecuted while the minions are out here gang stalking me. He's the one that provides what is funding to these so-called measures. Measure P that's funding the gang stalker Chafee Joint Union High School. That's monitoring through the underage vagina monitors. All of this is being stripped. All of it. They don't even concern themselves really about education. That's why these old people are gang stalking in and out of the senior center. That's not going to be in existence anymore. This is P.O.C. You have the entity that's going into poverty. They're going to be outside. They don't eat outside of the senior center, and the senior center is going away. They're going to go hungry, and the government is not paying or providing any assistance to terrorists. They show themselves to be terrorists, and that's exactly how you're going to be treated in the U.S. P.O.C. Here's another plane. Psychopathic pacing while demons are frustrated. Just like flying over my head by helicopter at 1:47 p.m. Another one, and none of this has anything to do with the Ontario International Airport that's being shut down. P.O.C. Doing cartwheels over the City Hall parking lot where I just showed you the fake sun, the images, you could see it. And what is the sun even doing here while it's here rising, including at the Ontario City Council, the Ontario City Hall? Stalking. This is absurdly idiotic and absurdly criminal. And the demons are triggered by their own stupidity, as I'm merely capturing it for the record. That's it. You're triggered by your own stupidity, by your own inferiority. You got drug addicts, you got employees, you got politicians, you have sex offenders, convicted sex offenders, and you have parents that are engaging in the same exact criminal pattern of conduct. The same exact one. P.O.C. The U.S. military, these are the homosexuals, that the demon-possessed, that are triggered as I speak to you about the truths regarding their mental illness, which is directly tethered to the way in which you conduct yourself sexually. You've never been told that because you've been conditioned by demons who want you to behave like them so that they can have spiritual control over you. But the entities engaging in this conduct with the U.S. military, that's the bottom line, the P.O.C. And that was 3 planes. It's currently 1:48 p.m. at the senior center where the fake sun is planted over me. All right, and so Abigail, that's gang stalking, going into the OVITT, she's at work right now inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. Dylan, and the African American female that changes her wigs and weaves every day, and then that's distinct from the other one that wears a mop on her head. Okay. She's outside stalking with light every day in the morning, and she's also doing so right now in the center where between the Laverne City Hall and the library. They're all being prosecuted at the same time, showing improving surveillance, and you're going to prison for that. You're engaging in terrorism in the face, levying war with the military in the face of an American citizen. They don't appreciate what they're engaging in, but they will when they're in prison. That's exactly what's happening. You will understand that it's not going to be, again, and the rest of the world is not going to be taught that this is okay. That's why you're going to prison. You're not. You're going to prison. This is P.O.C. It's 1:49 p.m. All right, it's 1:52 p.m., and that is more of literally the useless conduct. This is the entity that has been engaging in ritualistic conduct. Ritualistic, in other words, let's use a synonym for that. Systematic, repetitious conduct. They give it spiritual significance because they're demon-possessed. But it's not witchcraft in that they're accomplishing anything. So they are literally admitting to stalking and admitting to engaging in more than stalking while you're flying plane after plane after plane. And that's what the entity is doing right now at 1:52 p.m. And it's also key where it's happening, in a place where none of that would ever be happening. And you certainly are doing so while a whole bunch of other people are going to prison, like the demons that are sounding sirens. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct with regard to what is mental illness, while they're engaging in that which is exceeding stalking. So you're already mentally ill. You are engaging in that which you are telling yourself, and you have everybody practicing with you, that which is not any sort of spiritually significant or helpful conduct. In fact, while you engage in your ritual, which is broken down with regard to light activity, relevant positioning, and audible activity, like what you hear now, they're going to be committed with it. This is the entity that's engaging in a cycle of violence, and it's psychopathic, while they stalk people with noise, and they stalk them physically, following them around. They stalk them as an entity, and they stalk them with light. And all of that and each of them are a means of being involuntarily committed. This is P.O.C. I just want to be clear. This is the entity that engaged in seeking to inflict fear, which is a spirit, by repeatedly kidnapping me and having zero authority under the law. Even if I stole a candy bar from 7-Eleven, I've used this hypothetical many times, even if I had stolen a candy bar from 7-Eleven, do you understand that the Ontario Police Department are not engaged in law enforcement and they have zero authority, and the feds understand that? The U.S. military is stalking me. So there is a doctrine with regard to fruit of the poisonous tree, without teaching law right now. But this is basic. So first of all, you're stalking me, and that's how you know I stole a candy bar. But principle, it's even beyond that. Principle, you're maintaining a surveillance system. So you're not engaged in law enforcement. The Constitution is an illusion for you. You're not engaging in any sort of arrest or exercise of authority under the law, any penal code or any other section, while you are engaging in that. They are literally mutually exclusive. The entity has committed kidnapping with regard to literally making up things. They made it up. Including the fact, I want to be clear, you are not violating the municipal code when you're under surveillance and the entity is targeting you on the job force, which LAPD has provided that piece of the puzzle for what the Ontario Police Department are engaging in. They're one entity. They're targeting me at work, which is going to have a direct impact to my ability to pay for a hotel room without being targeted and have to continuously get another hotel room, or pay for my home and have to move away from it, which is also my job. Moreover, when you have stolen my wealth, all of my assets, and I'm outside and you're claiming I violated the municipal code, you're claiming that you have a warrant? Oh, and whose stamp of approval, would that be Shannon Dykes? I hear disbanding. That's what's happening. The entity is engaging in a surveillance system, and there are so many people that are simultaneously being prosecuted while the entity is engaging in what is pointless conduct, doing cartwheels over the City of Ontario parking lot, and it's not even witchcraft. They keep admitting that they're stalking over and over again. That's how the evidence is going to be used. And why would you do that? Medical professionals that are literally going to analyze your conduct are going to they're going to be involuntarily committed. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 1:56 p.m. That is Amazon Prime Air at 1:57 p.m. over the Senior Center and Ontario City Hall. Same exact circumstances as what is documented in images for you, to see the fake sun over me, and to see the fake sun remaining over me as I move around the parking lot from the City Hall to the Senior Center, and the demons who are the domestic terrorists operating, engaging and maintaining criminal surveillance under the guise of, like you hear in the background, the tree trimming is audible activity where Amazon Prime is hovering. This is, again, license plate 1567279. This is prosecuting a gang stalker such as Paul Leon, funding terrorism, and that's the City of Ontario maintaining light activity around the perimeter, monitoring my vagina in the bathroom. License plate 1476525. Parked adjacent, that's vehicle 5558, parked adjacent to the Senior Center where the fake sun is over me. As I am documenting in those images, it still applies. The fake sun is in the same position right now at 1:58 p.m. These images are captured at 1:33 p.m. So the same is applying right now while Amazon Prime just hovered over the Senior Center. And in other words, the evidence, the podcast, the fact that you heard it is hovering, but literally the ginormous plane itself just hovered over the roof while the entity is listening to the fact that it is over for them. Many of them are anticipating, I'm going to be clear, they're anticipating death, they're anticipating poverty, loss of their job, position, they're anticipating all manner of what is swooping in with regard to federal repercussions and spiritual repercussions. And the mentally ill, the demons that they are, the non-humans that they are, resort to more self-detrimental conduct, such as Amazon Prime, i.e. I'm referring to Bezos because I'm going to drag him in court. All right, so the entity is engaging, and this represents an entity. The entity is, Bezos is not ignorant, nor under the law are you seen as ignorant, where this level of corruption with the U.S. military across the globe is underway. Okay, so this is something that Bezos never anticipated being exposed, and also something that Bezos is delusional with regard to thinking that you're getting away with, or that you're going to see, or you can argue, tap dance your way out of, oh, I did not know. Yes, you did. Yes, you do. And it's unreasonable. You are entirely beyond derelict and negligent with regard to the blatant corruption of your company. Were you to even try to contend that you don't know that Amazon Prime is engaged in heavy terrorism in the United States of American citizens, while your demonic employees are molesting with impossible light? You think this demon doesn't know about that? It's supernatural. It's not just a pattern of conduct. Oh, Amazon's everywhere. No, Amazon's a sex offender, a demon-possessed one. Stalking more and more, the more that they're documented, just like the psychopaths that are engaging in the P.O.C. It is literally mimicked while the entity engages in that. And venues like, actors like Omnitrans, actors like Amazon Prime, venues like Walmart, none of them are helping any of the pattern of these broke down demons, in other words, that can't even hold up their neck because they're on heroin, that are sleeping outside, that have not engaged in what is having a bed to sleep in other words, that are gang stalking while homeless, and those that are sitting on multi-million-dollar estates. They will equally be prosecuted under the law, and none of them, because it's criminal activity, are able to compensate for. In other words, Omnitrans is going to pay me. Omnitrans doesn't even have Amazon Prime. You cannot quantify what Amazon Prime, what the U.S. military, what the entity, a government, a people are doing, first of all. Second of all, the entity is engaging in that which is not going to, regarding criminal activity, supplement, and so let all these drug dealers, let the city of Ontario, ease up with regard to the criminal repercussions, because Amazon's going to write you this check. We're going to negotiate. There will be no negotiating with terrorists, which is what Amazon Prime is. And the entity is engaging in what is going to speak to, just like you would prosecute an entity. Paul Leon's going to prison, and there's no check written. Let me put it this way. I'm getting both my money and some, and you're going to prison. How about that? Amazon Prime employees, federal prison, gang stalking me with LAPD, gang stalking me with Costa Mesa PD, gang stalking me with Ontario PD. Obviously, what I documented, you're going to prison. You're going to be treated under the law. You did it. That's the consequence, period. And I'm also going to prosecute you civilly with regard to what are incalculable damages that have never been contemplated, while the U.S. military kept using Amazon Prime planes to engage in the pattern of conduct, which Amazon Prime is complicit to. This is the entity that has wildly differing interests, and they're going to be competing in court. There is no unification regarding justice. This is an entity, again, the racist and the bigots and those that are subject to that racist conduct. Guess what? With regard to the P.O.C. and they're all being demons targeting a child of God, they all put those differences aside. And they target, and in court, they're all going to be prosecuted with regard to what is it? If you have deep pockets, those pockets will be prosecuted. And if you don't have deep pockets, it's called restitution. And you, broke, will be subject to what is confinement, and you are going to pay. The people of the state are going to compensate the targeted individual. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's providing what is the legislation, the policy to surround them that have some unfounded, and that's because they're mentally ill, some unfounded, and that's, I want to be clear, the gang stalking law enforcement agencies. That's going to, this is the basis with regard to, this is how you're going to teach a lesson that is humiliate upon providing justice. Not only are you not a police department anymore, but you will be compensating. And it's there will be the entity that is going to be maintained with regard to knowledge about terrorists around the globe while they're being prosecuted for it. But I just want to speak to that. The entity that's engaging in that, they're very petty, but at the same time, they're serial killers. But this is Satan that has been accustomed, in other words. Where does that come from? Because you're accustomed to getting away with murdering people in the name of Amazon Prime. That's what you're getting to. Amazon Prime gang stalking me in the same city this morning on Holt Boulevard while I was at the Stater Brothers. That was this morning. And I'm still in the city of Ontario. How is there a sun in an area in the United States 3 hours ahead of us? There's only one sun. And yet NASA hasn't been able to put this together while they're telling us about that gaseous ball of fire. And they're supposedly taking flights to the moon. The moon that's over me at night at the same location where it is right now. This is the P.O.C. The entity is going to be prosecuted for all the illusions presented while threatening my life, such as privacy on the internet, and Sergey, where Google and YouTube are removing my evidence online, which is a threat to my life, which you're going to appreciate, especially when I get to those pockets, which is a matter of justice. This is P.O.C. It's currently 2:04 p.m. All right, another entity engaging in serial stalking, crossing path. Again, the petty tactics of the entity that are going to prison, they're going to be committed. So the entity crosses path with what is commercial airline plane, a blue tail. And the entity that's engaged in what is serial stalking, the demon that's already documented with Dylan and Dylan inside of the OVITT Family Community Library with this Caucasian female. She looks like Freddy Cougar, gang stalking and harassing. She threatened that she was going to beat me up, and I laughed at that because it is laughable. But she's gang stalking, crossing path while the entity is engaging what is stalking by plane, and that's a document in their sick mind. That's an act of what is a threat and harassment. While the demons that are engaging in their so-called ritual are included in that iteration of psychopathic pacing. This is what is going to have the homosexuals in the planes and the demons that are, they're all the same homosexual spirit, but the mentally ill spirit pacing all around, they're all going to prison. But that's what that is. And so as unsuccessful and as idiotic and pointless as it is, you're going to prosecute for what the intent is, not how unsuccessful it is. That's like prosecuting for attempted murder. You tried to kill me and you're still going to prison because of that attempt. It's unlawful. Okay, but the entity's engaged in that, and these are the mentally ill. She's gang stalking inside of the library, in the bathroom. She's starting and engaging targeting in Ontario, just like I pointed out with regard to the serial stalker in Upland. All right, so you'll have these territorial demons that are stalking in one city, and then as I'm in another city, I'm referring to them as an example, and then when I'm in the city, the demon from that territory will come and gang stalk me at that venue. This demon has engaged in what is stalking me and specifically made a threat, which I documented on podcast. Dylan of Securitas, they called themselves helping with that issue. They were all monitoring together. That's the psychopathic conduct. And they're doing so while she's also going to Upland. This was Friday. So this past Friday, she's in the bathroom gang stalking, and I'm capturing images. This is the same one that engaged in what is vocalizing a threat that she's going to hurt me. Okay, well, we're going to put a pin in that. All right, like Allied Universal, she's going to bring charges. We're going to put a pin in that. All right, and this is the entity that's engaging in gang stalking together with the homosexuals that are engaging in cartwheels. And this is because they're very highly emotional. They're hurt. They're offended. They're scared. They're pathetic, and they engage in that conduct. Let's bring in somebody that was mean to her before and go ahead and cross path. This is the mentally ill behavior. It's not a ritual. They're not engaged in witchcraft. They never were. These are demon-possessed people. They're in sin, and that spirit operates over them and people of that same level where they're at. I am evidence that it's not witchcraft. It's not working. You're going to prison. That's what you manifested. That's the spell work. Should we go over it again? Because it's funny, but it's not funny, but it's funny. Right? Your homosexuality is spelling HIV, okay? And it's spelling federal prison and commitments while you're engaging in this nonsense. And there are a vast pool of defendants that are all affected at the same time. At the same time, they're surrounded. This is P.O.C. It's currently 2:09 p.m. Alrighty, ready? You hear the ignition? Started at the same time I started recording. So I've been at the same position at 9:35 in the morning where the gang members of the city of Ontario in a utility truck, fake sun blazing over my head as I begin moving this monitoring spirit crosses path. Paul Leon is financing this, license 1564986, and I'll show you the fake sun over the same Ontario Senior Center that it is at 9:35 a.m. And this was the morning where he's speaking to me. I'm documenting, and this demon pokes his head out the truck instead of just gang stalk me, saying, why are you talking to me? You're acting like you're not doing it, and I'm not even addressing you while I'm using my phone, free to do and record whatever I want in the sky. And he points his head out the window, and he says, hi, with a smile on his face, and the fake sun is glaring over the top of his head. It's at 9:35 in the morning, or substantially near that time, but I believe it's during the 9 a.m. hour, and this was in March of 2026. This demon is stalking, and again, this is the city of Ontario, doing so while I'm at the same location where the fake sun is over me right now. 10, 11, 12, 1, 4 hours, that would be 5 hours later. Here it is right here. I'm going to capture an image of that. This is monitoring vagina conduct. This is what they're doing pursuant to every move that you make, pursuant to what is the outward appearance of I'm focused on servicing the city, providing what is the, for example, I'm emptying the garbage, I'm trimming the trees, I'm raking the leaves, I'm blowing the leaves, I'm mowing the grass. I'm monitoring, I'm stalking, and I'm a psychopath because I'm monitoring every move you make, including your vagina. All right, and that's why the fake sun is over me while license 1564986, carrying a clipboard, driving a city-issued utility vehicle, which is pointing directly to the terrorist Paul Leon, who's a vagina monitor, okay, who was sinking in fecal matter, where the U.S. military is doing cartwheels and nobody thinks that you're actually a legitimate employee of the municipality. All the terrorists are going to be on unemployment, where they're not going to get any actual benefits because the government's not going to be providing. Nobody in California is getting unemployment. This is the type of thing that's going to end. They're not getting retirement. They're not getting unemployment benefits. They're not getting. These are all things that are assistance from the government. Okay, their employment has been a basis of criminal monitoring. So I just want to be clear: your criminal activity, you're not being compensated for that. Those are not legitimate wages. This is the entity that's engaged in criminal activity, and they have not understood that either. This is the entity that's engaged in that psychopathic behavior, self-delusional, self-destructive, and also obsessive, all right? While they listen to the truth about themselves, while they still continue doing it, and they're triggered because they are, in fact, monitoring vagina. Vagina that would never welcome them. This is the pattern of conduct. It is currently 2:13 p.m. All right, that's the entity that's stalking with planes, monitoring my every move. This is relevant to obsession. A population is obsessed with me, a population is stalking, and a population is stalking in furtherance of murder, and a population is a sex offender. That's what you're understanding with regard to this surveillance system. This is changing all the illusion that they create. Mental illness is an exception, and you're diagnosed, but they said, no. Mental illness is the standard by this population. They're all mentally ill. And that's proven through the pattern of conduct, the environment that they're in. And it's mentally ill that they are practicing that in the face of those that would be ignorant about it. And then they even try to depict your character in one way if you suspect it or say anything to. That's psychopathic, including stalking in planes. All right, and everybody's walking around and driving in utility vehicles like, I don't know. Nobody knows about it. And you have to. What are you going to say about it? What are you going to say about the sun that's sitting over here where your partner's at 9:30? What are you going to say about that? Other than, what are you talking about? Say something, Satan. Say something, because I'm going to use it against you. Everything. Okay? This is the P.O.C. These are sex offenders. It's 14:14. It's 2:14 p.m. Where the elderly are sex offenders. Okay? They're engaged in sexual violence. They're over the age of majority, and they will not be getting any assistance from the city of Ontario. This is P.O.C. It's 2:14 p.m. All right, the conglomerate of vagina monitors that I'm documenting meet up at the entrance of the senior center, where they're engaged in surveillance through old gang stalkers who don't wash their hands and they just hurtle in and out on canes. License 8 Charlie Paul David 848 is stalking, parked in the parking lot with their hazard lights on. That's showing you the significance of the light activity. It's mentally ill behavior. But the entity keeps the fake sun over the Ontario City Hall parking lot. It has been documented as a matter of history. And let me go ahead and show you this psychopath that's stalking with light, parked in the spot with hazard lights on. So I'll show you them running off now. That's again 8 CPD 848.
The hazard lights, whether they want to make it look like it's got a purpose, like Amazon Prime or USPS delivering a package, or Brink Security coming up, picking up money, dropping off money, or looking very clearly like there's no purpose, it does not matter. It's all in the environment, and they're all sharing the same demonic, psychopathic, sexually perverted for vagina monitoring conduct. It's light activity, and mentally ill people are stalking with light. In fact, demon-possessed people are stalking with light. And you know that because it's not going to change regardless of what the demons think, because of the uniform or the position of the vehicle that you're wearing or the location where you're at or what your appearance is. Your appearance is one of Satan's minions. That's what you look like. They are the only ones that think that they look like something else or that it looks like something. They are the only ones that are deceived. Nobody is under any illusion anymore. And you can clearly see the operation of that system. The entity is stalking with commercial planes and helicopters. You're not doing anything other than monitoring. Period. That's the P.O.C. though, and all the conglomerate of vagina monitors. The demon that is listening to every syllable that I utter, including monitoring my vagina. This is another homosexual female, a lesbian, okay, who changes her weave very frequently. The African-American female who's going to prison, stalking with Ontario police. She's going to prison, and she's meeting at the entrance of the senior center in order to engage in crossing the path. She's a zombie. The demon in her wants to cross path with me because it's hostile with regard to my referring to her, and I'm going to because I'm prosecuting you. You're not engaged in any witchcraft. The demons, again, are hostile, and they engage in this conduct. This is very much spiritual, and these are demons that I am using in order to bring these people down that are engaging in this criminal activity. This is not physical. This is not carnal. These are demon-possessed people, and they are at an inherent disadvantage because they're mentally ill and they are possessed and controlled, in other words, by inferior spirits that are triggered by me. They're obsessed with me. And I'm using that to my advantage to show you what they are and what they're doing. And they're going to prison for it because in court it's not a defense. And because it's not a Salem witch trial. So nobody actually cares that you're a demon, but I will even use that to have you committed. This is the P.O.C. All right, so it's not only the entity that's gang stalking with regard to the demons that I'm referring to. I refer to the bums of the city of Ontario, the employees. They're monitoring. They're monitoring in concert with the demon that is crossing path while the entity does a cartwheel and plane. This demon, this Caucasian female, talking about she's going to hurt me, when really, if I were not conducting an investigation, it would have been something else. But you're not even worth it. They're not worth it, okay? This is also why I laugh at it, because you're not even, this is Satan that's obsessed with me. And so when you understand that, you're not going to be triggered in the first place. Now, there is a level to where it's like, oh, okay, well, seriously, it's like the audacity. You're trash, okay? And I don't mean to, but yes, I do mean to at the same time. You are trash. You're a vagina model. You're a sex offender and a stalker. You're not even honest with yourself about what you and the demons that came out of your vessel are. The demons of your loins, all right? You are entirely inferior. And what do I mean by that? Because you're stalking me. You're following me around. You're obsessed with me and the audacity for you to speak one foul adjective. Okay, that's what I mean. That's the only thing though. But other than that, that's just speaking to the way you worship me. And who is worshiping man but those that are lost? Well, why are you worshiping me? Because you are when you're stalking. And they admit to it. They admit it. Them demons and them admit that they're worshiping me. So the entities engage in this conduct, but nobody really cares that those are demons that have them say, oh, you're going to beat me up? Oh, okay. All right, got it. You're going to hurt me? Okay. You're going to press charges? Okay, got it. All right, put a pin in that. The entities engaged in this conduct, and I'm documenting because everything coming out of the mouths of these mentally ill people is going to be used in court. Mental health court. It's going to be used in court with regard to criminal charges, with regard to time in prison, with regard to damages, with regard to those that are in positions of authority that are going to be liable, and criminally also liable. You're going to be liable for the criminal conduct of the city under which you are facilitating this pattern of conduct. This is what they don't understand. It's a pattern of conduct. You're going to be prosecuted. It is terrorism. And the entity is engaging in that systematically. And so that's why, yes, on the one hand, it is the audacity. All right, this is something that could go a totally different manner if I were not maintaining a professional investigation. But you have absolutely witnessed demons being put in their place on plenty of occasions. Okay, but for the most part, this is for the purposes of what is God exposing the wicked, Okay, so I am absolutely conducting myself in a professional manner so that as many people as possible can witness it, okay? And I'm mindful of that at the outset. But do not forget about the fact that I'm dealing with demons. These are gang members. These are cowards also that are aware that I'm recording. So on one facet, they want to appear like, oh yeah, I'm gangster, don't nobody care. And if you contend with me, if you try to contend with me, then that means that you're not monitoring and I'm just bad poo crazy. That's literally what they think. They think like that. I don't care about everybody else. You ain't never seen nobody these are baboons. But anyway, the entity is concerned with the fact that they're being recorded. You've already been humiliated by virtue of being in my path. Everybody knows what you are and what you're doing. Okay, so the entity is engaging in what is I'm being approached by a bunch of cowards. They're gang members. They don't exercise independent thought. They're embarrassed by the way in which they've been described. They've never thought about the things that I've discussed about them while they're engaged in a pattern of conduct. They never fathom or imagine that they could be proven to this degree as guilty without even saying a word to them. And they're embarrassed by that. They're embarrassed by that because their whole existence is fake and they're all demons. Okay, so it's not only criminal conduct, it's demon possession, which nobody at this point in history yet wants to be associated with. Nobody's out here talking about, like, seriously, oh, hell, Satan. No, it's not that. We're getting there, but they're not there yet, and that is taboo, but that's what they all are. Okay, and it is engaged in this pattern of conduct as an entity at 2:26 p.m., stalking. All right, so you'll see that, 7 Henry 25278, stalking exactly where Jay Montez is in the morning during the 9:44 a.m. hour at B Street and Laurel. Jay Montez is going to prison. All right, so this is the entity that's speaking to what he was doing at 9 a.m. in the morning, where daylight savings time or not, the sun will not be at the same position. And he's gang stalking at B Street with the Ontario International Airport. The homosexuals that are following me around in planes, worshiping me. License 7 Henry 25278, walking out, starting his ignition, stalking in the path while the fake sun is over me. He is going to be used to put Jay Montez in prison, but Jay Montez is already prosecuted. But this is how you use that evidence. There is no way to get around it. They're already surrounded, and they're triggered by that as well. This is the entity that's engaged in that. So while they listen to everything that I document, that's letting you know everybody around me, every facet, every means of stalking, which is every building, every place, everywhere you're going. They're all stalking, and they're all proven as stalkers. And the United States, in other words, is a stalker. The United States is a stalker. All right, so the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct, and the prize is, did you forget about Jay Montez? Jay Montez, that fool's going to prison. He's going to federal prison, and because he wore a uniform while stalking me in the morning, replete with helicopter activity, all right, where his same buddies of the U.S. military just digging a hole deeper and deeper for him, he's going to federal prison, and you're going to be subject to mental examinations. That's what he has coming, is sitting on the record. He's going to prison. Okay, so the entity is engaging in this conduct, and they're doing so while they are listening to what it is that I document. You have this conglomerate of all the demons that I just documented. The Caucasian female who's talking like she's going to do something, like she's going to bust a grape, if you will, reference in the vernacular. Those who know, with regard, what are you going to do? Oh, okay, Satan. This is why, and what are you so angry about as well? If you're not gang stalking, what are you angry about? All right, but I'm not going, these are not intellectual beings. I'm not going to have an intelligent conversation with a vagina monitor. I'm going to document you. And I'm also going to use everyone else and hold them all liable for the ignorant things that you say while you're gang stalking. You're stalking. And you're stalking as an animal. You're an idiot. You don't know to even just be quiet while you're already on the wrong side of the law. You're already on the wrong side of the law. So the entities engaging in this, and that's what's surrounding the Caucasian female who was stalking in Ontario at the library and in Upland at the library, which is speaking to obsession with me. Actually, you are actually obsessed with me, and you're a sex offender, you're a lesbian, you're obsessed with my vagina, you're a predator, okay? And you're following me from city to city, just like the demon from Upland who has engaged in what is stalking me at Ontario, and does so while I refer to the venue in the adjacent city. While I'm in Ontario, I refer to Upland. While I'm in Upland and I refer to Ontario, this is the pattern that the demons engage in. And it is specific, it is targeting, because the entity is doing so with regard to the fake sun documentation. And that's what you're looking at. And then you can also pay attention to what I said as I said it. And then when they apply, you can see the patterns when you're looking at they're all focused on me. So you will see those patterns surface as you pay attention to those details. But nonetheless, the entity is engaging in this conduct, and I just want to be clear, that's the entity that's engaging the municipality workers, the city workers, the ones that I described as bums, are crossing paths at the entrance of the Ontario Senior Center. The
The entity is stalking by plane. The entity is doing so in engineer light. The entity is doing so with regard to the Caucasian female who was stalking in the library, including in the bathroom, and the one that I described as the one that's threatening to hit me while I'm originally, she did so at the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. So now she's stalking where I sleep and stalking at the public library. And I'm documenting that because you're going to prison for that. That's a serial stalker. I see your face more than what the feds see you. That's a red flag, and you're going to prison for that. So nonetheless, the entity's engaging in this P.O.C. and everybody that I use as an example, all the demons in them compel them to come engage in what is stalking me again as I walk out of the entrance door. So that's what I wanted to point out right now. And the entity's doing so while they're stalking in the path with peculiarized light. As you recognize that pattern, that's what was at Walmart in front of the store. That's what Omnitrans did in front of the store while the fake sun is over that entrance of that store. Is what the entity is doing while I'm at the venues where I'm pointing out as I'm walking to the City Hall, and the City of Ontario is maintaining a vehicle in front of the City Hall under the fake sun, flashing of light, peculiarized light. The entity is doing so. This is monitoring conduct. They're stalking. And what are you doing while you already have it there in position before I even arrive there? You're stalking. And as you do so, the entity does so as you go in and you come out and you see it there in position, you're stalking. But this is the pattern that you recognize, the peculiarized light, with regard to what is monitoring on communication devices. Okay, so this is what the entity is engaged in, and this is what they're doing with regard to following around with that environment. That's the specific environment following around. And it is as criminal as the fake sun remaining over you. It is as indicative as the homosexuals doing cartwheels in commercial planes. There's no passengers on those planes. All right, and you're stalking. You're blatantly stalking. And you're blatantly stalking because you're a fool. All right, so the entity is engaging in this with regard to that level of criminal conduct that is inevitably shared by the people of the state, whose ongoing act of doing so as a population that doesn't know you're strangers, and also equally malicious, doing so with those that you know, your so-called friends and family, your colleagues, your coworkers. That's the entity that's doing the same thing. They're in your face, hey, and for you to even ever allege such a thing is what is supposed to result in your being defamed. They're going to prison for these things. They're going to be committed. And this is the backfire of what is not an intelligent system. It is not intelligent to have a fake sun either. So it is Satan that made somebody think that there's some genius scientists, and they're not. They're a vagina monitor. All right? They're a psychopath. And they are also intellectually inferior. This is why you have those that are so-called rocket scientists not speaking to the obvious asininity of a fake sun. Because it's very obvious. All right? This is the P.O.C. The entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct while stalking. License 9 Victor Bob Kelly 234. This is a fat-faced male driving a Nissan. That looks like a Nissan Altima. Or it could be the Sentra. Yeah, that's a Nissan Altima. Gang stalking while I am at 125 North Vine Avenue. En route while the fake sun is over me. That is indeed a stalker. Okay, tracking my steps as a population, just stalking, maintaining that ongoing pacing. What are they actually doing? They're just one person after another, maintaining presence in the path, and they also do that where they are living inside of their venues because they're not private properties. And this is the entity that's engaging in that, and that's the fake sun. Like I already showed on, which I discussed at the outset of this discussion, the fake sun that's over me during the 12 p.m. hour in its zenith at that OVITT Family Community Library is the fake sun that's remaining over me while I'm walking the same path that I do in the early mornings, 6 and 7, where the entity is engaging what is that same path with the fake sun over me, which is necessarily speaking to what could be no sun over the up and public library. And it's not even a tenable position. And in other words, Adam Tuckerman, Kiki and Alan and Elizabeth and Alyssa and Joy, all these demons that are stalking, they're psychopaths stalking me with noise. They're psychopaths pacing up and down the staircase in the center of that library. There's psychopaths that are pacing in engineered light that colors the venue on the inside. None of that sunlight. They're all demons. They're psychotic. They're all stalking me. Not only is that very highly visible for you to witness when I'm in the library, but when I'm not in the library, and I am documenting outside of that venue, this is when you're witnessing, okay, what was that then? That's when you're going back and recalling
what it is, because that's where you see very clearly what it is the entity is doing in plain view. And the demon-possessed, the malicious, the psychopathic, it is in their minds while they are playing on your subconscious, and while you are subdued, while you're walking in sin and buying into the things that they seek to condition you with. They want you to be homosexual. They want you to be promiscuous. They want you out here fornicating. They want you cheating on your spouse. They want you talking about God like that's only for the weak-minded. They want you talking and believing that there are many paths to God. They want you even stating that it's even fine that you're a Christian, but you can live however you want because it's all under the blood. And God is not judging. God is love. And that means that you can do all of these things while they are in your face engaging in that pattern of conduct. That is where the entity is maintaining that illusion while exercising spiritual power over you. And that's where that illusion is speaking to keeping you blind. And I'm showing you when you're looking at the P.O.C, and that is removing that illusion. And it's also removing what is your spiritual blindness and your necessity, your need for what is the truth of God in your life, and with regard to changes that need to be made in doing so. These people are on the path to death, rapid destruction. And I said rapid destruction. All right. And the way that they're chasing me, stalking me, is because they are scared to think about what's going to happen to themselves, because it's already over. You don't gang stalk somebody in front of the whole world. You don't gang somebody at every intersection in an Amazon Prime vehicle when you're going to be paying millions and millions of dollars in damages. You don't do that because you're convinced that that's a successful maneuver. These are demons that are engaging in self-destructive conduct. They are inundated with fear, demons that are tormenting them and literally stalking me, where they're not getting anything. They're not getting any authority. They're not getting anything from me other than me pointing the finger at them and proving the accusation that I stated at the outset. And that's because that's justice. They're doing this to innocent people across the globe. People that don't even have a constitution, but the United States knows better. We're supposed to be a leader, morally, ethically. We're supposed to be a leader in the free world on the international stage. So this is pure evil, pure evil. And they are targeting those that belong to Christ. They are targeting those that dare to resist to engage in this. As though you're going to stop somebody that has the free will to exercise whether they want to walk with Christ and be a Christian or not. And they're going to target you and gang stalk you and murder you if you even think about wanting to be a Christian for real. Not like the demons that are congregating every week, but you really want to walk with Christ, you really want to know him and serve him and live in the way that he tells you to do and be whoever it is that he called you to be. They try to kill you off for that. Let alone the gang stalking system where they're targeting those that are born into a royal bloodline, that don't know that they were born wealthy, that don't know that they inherited wealth, that don't know their identity, the authority that they were born with, that they inherited, all right, who they are spiritually, because this is very much spiritual warfare. And that's why you're looking at the weak who have, they've literally given up with regard to now they're just stalking in front of everybody. It is an abysmal failure. An abysmal failure. And while you act like it's not happening by maintaining your conversation and cheesing and coking and joking like nothing is happening, like you're not being utterly destroyed in front of everybody, that doesn't mean that it's not happening. They're delusional. And that's the same conduct that is going to harm them. It's going to be used by legitimate medical professionals to make sure that this threat is neutralized throughout the United States and those that are even outside of the United States. This is indeed international. So it's a violation of international law. I just want to be clear, like as I've established a pattern of conduct and taking you step by step, show you what the entity is doing, what the entity is doing in the state, what the entity is doing inevitably in the nation, what this entity is doing in other countries, what this entity is doing with other countries in the United States. This is what the entity is doing throughout the world in concert with other nations. And it is a violation of international law. So I just want to point that out. Stalking at the intersection. These are two demons at Stater Brothers engaging in surveillance. They're not waiting for me to cross, they're stalking. License plate. 9 Victor Paul Kelly 112, 8 Zebra Kelly Robert 883, 8 Mary Xavier Wendy 184, 9 Victor David Zebra 291. The fake sun is over me right now at 2:39 p.m. at the same intersection of Holt Boulevard after crossing Bonita. This is where I was at I want to say this morning, and I took a picture of it, but I'm documenting this so frequently. But if I recollect correctly, this is exactly where I was at Bonita and on Holt Boulevard. I'm looking at Stater Brothers right now. In fact, let me take a picture of it. And the entity is stalking while they're in the path, as though they're, oh, go ahead, you have the right of way. They're stalking. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. And those license plates are relevant to evidence to prosecute for stalking. All right, and so is Stater Brothers, so is El Pollo Loco, so is the entire Ontario Village Shopping Center while you're documenting the P.O.C. Okay, alrighty, I just wanted to go through that. This is an entity that's engaging in what is targeting in absurd and obvious manners, which is good as far as a prosecution goes. But with regard to what's happening around the globe, there are, in other words, prophecies that are being fulfilled and that are going to be fulfilled based on what this entity has been doing, and that was always going to be the case. It is only them that told themselves that they're engaging in witchcraft that is going to contend with what Christ already did on the cross. So he said he's coming back. He said that he's coming back in judgment, and these demons are like, oh no, you're not, because I'm going to have a gay sex ritual, and I'm going to overpower the Holy Spirit. I'm going to overpower the will of God, and what he already put on the record, meaning it's irrefutable. It's written down. It's surely going to happen. And they think that gay sex rituals are going to work. That sitting around stalking in planes is witchcraft that's going to contend with what God said is going to happen. That's literally what they're mentally ill. They are in fact mentally ill, and it is to a suicidal extent. They've sacrificed themselves. They sacrificed their children. They sacrificed their well-being. They did that to themselves. So, and while they were seeking to do wicked to other people, other innocent people, and as far as the government's concerned that's targeting you outside of the confines of the Constitution, you need to understand that actually everybody is innocent. There are those that are part of the system and they can become subject to being targeted as well for whatever reason. That's the wicked taking the wicked out. But it's still subject to a corrupt system. So it's speaking as a matter of principle, what is the general impropriety of the government. The government does not have a right to do it under any circumstances. Okay, so I just want to point that out. It is currently 2:42 p.m. and I am walking toward the wind, so forgive me if I'm my speaker, if it sounds like it's muffled or you can hear the wind or it sounds distorted or anything, apologies, but I am literally out here in the field and documenting at the same time. All right, and I'm carrying a lot of stuff, so I'm not complaining, but this is the reality, so please understand, because I understand I don't like to listen to things that are unpleasant, and it makes it seem like are you that unaware? I'm very aware, but I have a lot going on right now. It is currently 2:43 p.m. This is P.O.C. It is currently 3:56 p.m. and the fake sun is over me at the spin. What is this called? Spin. The spin cycle, the laundromat, where the entity was gang stalking with Ontario Fire, American Medical Response, where they embarrassed themselves, engaging in criminal summoning, where the whole purpose of the use of sirens and fire trucks and emergency vehicles is supposed to cloak, that is disguise the criminal surveillance system. They don't have any emergencies that they don't know about. They're not ignorant about what's going on throughout the city. So you're not getting a legitimate gaining information about someone that is collapsing on the sidewalk, and we have to rush to that person and provide them aid. They're doing so under the fake sun. Remember what I documented 2 weeks ago on this day at 2:21 and 2:25 p.m. and the next day I reminded you about what was over the top of my head, which is impossible, while the sun is over me at the Upland Public Library. This is an entity that's engaging in what is showing and proving that, first of all, Paul Leon deserves to be in federal prison, which is where he's going, funding terrorism with the police, the fire, and ambulance that are a bunch of vagina monitors, and all the people of the state that I'm documenting, like those inside of the laundromat right now, that are engaged in what are fixing all the washing machines that are all out of order, and because they think that because they're out of order and they're actually fixing them, even breaking them to just fix them, or even if they legitimately break and they're fixing them, none of that matters, because if they were legitimately engaging in that which is not unlawful or demonic in furtherance of murder, then the impossible light activity wouldn't be swimming across the floor. I wouldn't have it on video underneath the soda machine at the entrance, and the fake sun is what is over me. It wouldn't be here over my head like it is at 3:58, 3:59. What time is it? 3:58 p.m.
Okay, you're recalling I'm also at this venue in the morning aboard Omnitrans. That's gang stalking at Walmart today, gang stalking at the OVITT Family Community Library. Like those who are, again, anxious to give me all of their money and go to federal prison as I document you gang stalking me, pursuant to criminal summoning, like what happened here under the fake sun 2 weeks ago at 2:21 and 2:25 p.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun over me, and everybody in there is engaged in what is harassing me while they maintain ongoing. This Asian male, this is a psychopath, and he's leading in the activity creation. They're pacing around in engineer light. This is mentally ill behavior, and this is what I'm accustomed to when I'm just trying to do my laundry. Okay, this is ongoing psychopathic behavior, and it is inherently terrorism. While the entity, a bunch of crazy people, in other words, are stalking you, and that's what you're doing while the light is on the wall, and you are wanting to behave as though I'm just doing my laundry. No, you're a psychopath, and you're going to be dealt with in mental health court. They don't understand that, but they will. They will understand it. So the entities engaged in this, and they're doing so in furtherance of murder. That's why the light activity is there. And it is not under any circumstances okay or cool or acceptable to aid in the homosexuals that are stalking me in planes and helicopters and on the roads and the highways while the entities maintains this circus around me everywhere. And while I'm at this laundromat that is at 815 Superior, this is where the entity could not have a son over the Upland Public Library, which is merely the latest example. Okay, so this is P.O.C. All of the criminal pattern of conduct is exposed while the entity maintained a fake sun this morning. Remember this intersection at San Antonio? I walked up San Antonio yesterday morning, or the day before yesterday morning, but in other words, I've walked up San Antonio in the morning, early in the morning, to get to Upland, where the entity keeps a fake sun, and yet when I stay in Ontario, literally at the same block where the Stater Brothers is at, it's over me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, okay? So if you think breaking machines and then repairing them, and then as though everyone is going to be ignorant, oh, I'm repairing, these are people that are not prepared for what's going to happen, and they also are very, very ignorant. I want to say this is stupidity. This is embarrassing with regard to the ignorant level of criminal activity. If you think no one is... Okay, so I don't know how any competent investigation... Okay, so why is the light activity there if it's just about the... I don't know anything about that. I'm just fixing the machine. Get ready to go to prison. So anyway, the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and it is the P.O.C. All right, and they're doing so with regard to the entity's level of malice. So this one's volunteering his identity, and he should. Okay, he's walking to his vehicle. They know I'm documenting. And the vehicle that he is accessing, this is the Asian male whose picture I took. They're all monitoring to his absurdly disruptive, which is harassing activity creation. Okay, and he's doing so with the rest. And so this is an entity that's engaging, and he's also monitoring while doing that. But it is license 13283 Victor 3, I believe. This is the vehicle that he's accessing. That doesn't mean that it's actually his, but that's what I'm going to document. You also have Continental Gerbeau West, your local commercial laundry experts. I surmise those are the ones that are in there preparing or repairing the laundry machines. Okay, so you don't feel sorry for any part of the entity because they don't feel sorry for the targeted individual. Even when you have some that are more flagrant in their engagement in the pattern of conduct than others that try to be less. They don't feel the need to be rude to you, but it's rude even while you're smiling and you're gang stalking me. But this is speaking to different personality types that are engaged in the same criminal level of the pattern of conduct. License 13283 Victor 3 is a license, and the entity is engaged in this. It's 4:01 p.m. and this is 815 East Holt Boulevard. So, 815 West Holt Boulevard. So this is where the fake sun is over me. I'm going to capture that, and I'm going to capture the license plates. This is where I'm subject to the P.O.C. and all of that pattern of conduct. The entity already showed you. They showed you their entire criminal pattern of conduct. Stalking by helicopter in circles, just like they were. When were they doing that? Oh, that was just yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, that's every day, actually. And that's what they've already done here. Stalking by planes that are in Upland and in Fontana and in Pomona, and they're hovering over this parking lot while that fake sun, that's all on the record. This is what they forget about when they're stalking moment by moment, and that is the inherent disadvantage when you are stalking and it's being documented, when you are gang stalking as an entity, and everyone is going to be accountable for what you are all engaging in, even when one idiot is doing it. That's why you don't gang stalk with the government. A bunch of demons that don't care about you going to prison. They don't care about you, your children being subject to what are demons that are going to attack their mindset and attack their bodies, and these demons don't care about that. That's why they're doing cartwheels and stalking in planes at everything that I'm stating about the truth about them.
The entity, in other words, doesn't even care about the co-defendants who are the people of the state. These are all demons, and in court, it's going to be laughable how they are going every man for themselves. I'm not playing, and they're not even men. It's going to be every demon for themselves. All right, license 28981B4. This entity that's targeting me together, and they're doing so while I am under that light source. And there is evidence that precedes today. So the fact that the sun is over me when I'm on Omnitrans in the morning coming from Montclair, and it's over me now at 4 o'clock in the, that's how you already know the pattern of conduct. And that's also when you're getting to, so why do you think that an out of order machine is going to make you look like you're not ripe for prison or deportation, etc., etc.? That's because they're demons. That's why. All right, it's the P.O.C. and all the demons that are monitoring with them, making a mockery as to why they will not be employed, why they're going to be committed, why their positions shall no longer exist, such as the city that's providing what is a means of a paycheck for terrorism, fire, police, and ambulance, who engage in criminal summoning with this population. All right, this is the P.O.C. 33657 Mary 2, 7 Nancy Victor Sam 891, 6 Henry Zebra Henry 815. They were stalking at the Pizza Hut the other night. License 8 Paul Wendy Henry 740, 6 Thomas Larry 550. All right, this is the entity that's engaging what is harassing you in psychological torture, or a whole bunch of gang members, no, albeit demons. Okay, yes, lesser beings, absolutely. But you're talking about the ordinary target individual who's a human being and who is being targeted by a gang of people everywhere that they go. So you are putting yourself, the court system is the government that's going to restore that American citizen who's being attacked. The entity is levying war against them. And everywhere they're going, they're being attacked in this manner. Okay, that has psychological ramifications that they are entitled to recovery for. Their dignity, their privacy, okay? And their right to not be stalked, period. This is all what's relevant when the entity's gang stalking. These are things that they've never thought about because they're a bunch of demons. All right, but they are being held accountable under the law in ways in which they can't even spell understanding. Like, seriously, they can't even spell legal representation. So that's what I'm dealing with here. All right, so this is the entity that's engaging in this barbarism, and they're going to be prosecuted for it, and it is levying war. This is the entity that's maintaining that environment while I'm at the laundromat in Ontario. It's P.O.C. All right, 4:38 p.m. Southwest Airlines stalking, going well beyond even the landing that they did at 11 o'clock at Stater Brothers yesterday. This is the entity doing so as I exit, and those license plates which represent the people of the state that are gang stalking. They're flying over 761 West Hope Boulevard, Pepe's tow service right here, and the 815, and the fake sun is right here over me. Southwest Airlines is going to be it's not going to exist anymore. It's like Omnitrans. They're too dangerous to exist for the American people, for them to be flying across state lines, for them to be flying even within the state, for them to be flying outside of the country, which Southwest Airlines may or may not do. But Southwest Airlines has shown itself that level of impunity. They passed that threshold a long time ago. Southwest Airlines will not continue as a company. All right, that's the pattern of conduct. However, the entity is stalking me upon my exit at 4:38 p.m. It's 4:39 p.m. The fake sun is over me. So this is already speaking to what Southwest Airlines is doing on video yesterday during the 11 a.m. hour on what would be the east side of this same San Antonio at Stater Brothers. I'm on the west side of San Antonio at 815 West HOLT. I'm going to prosecute all of the entity, but I'm going to prosecute Southwest Airlines. They're going to be targeted with the evidence regarding terrorism, and they will not exist as a corporate entity. This is P.O.C. This is also evidence of psychopathic pacing, while another plane seconds behind that is also stalking. Remember all the evidence that exists. The entity having a fake sun rising at this Starbucks at the corner. The entity Delta Airlines flying over my head at this Starbucks. This is the entity that's engaging in that conduct together. This is the entity that is, again, these are mentally ill people, desperate acts, hostility, hostile, and why are you hostile? And then you engage in more damning conduct that's going to hurt you. I'm taking all your money, you're going to prison, you're losing your kids, you're getting kicked out of the country, etc., etc. What is it that you're accomplishing? Because again, that's the spirit of Satan. So you need to understand the casualties of demon possession, where the entity has sacrificed itself. Okay, so these are demons that are driving an entity to commit self-sacrificial acts, such as forfeiting a company, forfeiting your liberty, All right, forfeiting literally your ability to stay free of out of a mental institution where you have demonstrated that you are severely mentally ill and it's a threat to the public, such as stalking in planes. And this is the U.S. military and prosecuting Southwest Airlines. We understand that that is the state acting directly and vicariously. This is the P.O.C. The fake sentence over me while the entity's engaging in that psychopathic pacing. What is Southwest Airlines doing? Look at that video evidence. This is, again, the embarrassing cinematic prosecution in the courtroom. And you're witnessing it on social media right now, but in a courtroom, this is like a ridiculous. What is Southwest Airlines doing at 11 o'clock in the morning? You're going to look at the Google Maps, so you're looking at it's across the street. And what is Southwest Airlines doing when there's one airport and Southwest Airlines is assigned to one terminal at the same airport that did not move anywhere? Okay, they're very highly unintelligent, and then they're triggered when they're caught. They're triggered as I describe it, as I embarrass them with what is stupidity. You are stupid. And then you're stupid when you engage in more. I don't care about your feelings. You're a terrorist. I literally am intentionally embarrassing you because this is what they do to other people, and then other people don't know better that you shouldn't feel humiliated at all. They're worshiping you while they're stalking you. But that's okay. That's being handled right now because they're not doing this anymore. All right. This is the humiliation ritual of the demon possessed. This is P.O.C. and it is 4:41 p.m. All right. It's currently 5:07 p.m. So the stalkers that are in the drive-thru of El Pollo Loco, this is El Pollo Loco unit number 3283. They're located at 668 West Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California. And I just captured images of the fake sun over me in the morning at this El Pollo Loco. I believe that was yesterday morning. Yesterday was the 19th. And today is the 20th, and I am here at 4:45 p.m. as a matter of record. The receipt I took a picture of. And the fake sun is beaming over, hovering. It's not in the sky. It's sitting on the roof of the El Pollo Loco, where they're stalking in the drive-thru, and they are stalking while as a means of crossing paths. Psychotic behavior. The pacing behavior around me is through any and everything everywhere. So they use the drive-thru pacing around. They use the streets where they're pacing around, the sky space while they're pacing around, in and out of any doorway, including bathrooms. Okay, the entities engaging in what is stalking while they are crossing paths, such as license plate 8 Frank Nancy Charlie 370, and doing so while Engineer Light dances on the ceiling inside of El Pollo Loco. That is a gang stalker. All right, that's why Amazon Prime is stalking me by flying over the roof of the El Pollo Loco, just like where the entity's flying over anyone's roof. That roof is the identification of a gang stalker. Okay, this is the exception only where the targeted individual is the one that is proven to be subject to the criminal surveillance system in furtherance of murdering that person. You're flying over my roof like LAPD is at Alvarado Gardens, and I'm not a gang stalker. I am proven the entity is engaged in targeting me, and they're doing so. LAPD is competing with the fake sun. This is speaking to Dominic Choi, whose criminal activity is on the record as a terrorist leader, and Michael Moore as well, engaging in the pattern of conduct. The entity keeping the fake sun. You're not retiring out of this prosecution. This is an entity. You're not transitioning out of it. Another terrorist leader that takes your position. I'm prosecuting this entity that engaged in conspiring my murder, collecting paychecks, occupying positions in doing so. They continue that pattern of conduct over the course of years while I'm remaining subject to it, and history is going to recall your engagement, and you're being prosecuted. Just because you think that you stepped away, you did not. I'm still documenting you. And the entity is engaging in what is keeping impossible light activity while a fake sun is sitting over El Pollo Loco in Ontario at San Antonio and Holt, where the entity is stalking, where, for example, at this Starbucks at 706 West Holt, meaning I'm at this same location at 7 in the morning, where the entity has this fake sun, where the customers are gang stalking, the employees are gang stalking, and a whole bunch of hostile demons inside of El Pollo Loco, which is speaking regarding the entity that is hostile to any American citizen is hostile to this country. So just want to be clear. The entity engages in conduct as though there's some place in the state where you don't belong, some neighborhood where you don't belong, where their culture reigns there, and they're here gang stalking. The entity is going to be put in its place, such as outside of this country, where they're engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct, and you're an immigrant given a privilege that you have far exceeded that privilege while engaging in targeting with the state.
The entity is engaging in the P.O.C. while you are here engaged in criminal activity. You're not even an American citizen. You're here to engage in criminal conduct, and they have the audacity to behave in the ways in which I've witnessed. There is no patriotism by a demon that's gang stalking, holding up the flag, just like you're not a Christian because you sit in the church and you say the name of Jesus. No, you're not at all. You're literally a demon. But the entity is engaging in this P.O.C. and they're doing so while targeting inside of the El Pollo Loco. And this is the entity that's engaged in that with regard to, again, it is always just reflecting. There's no, in other words, mysterious prosecution. So the entity has in every way shown, I'm going to prosecute the restaurant. That's, again, damages, criminal case. It's very clear. Just making sure I do my due diligence and I'm documenting what the entity is doing and what the same people of the state are doing. And the entity is engaged in that at the location where I've shown from sunrise until sunset, the maintenance of that which is surveillance against the corporate entity inside of which the establishment is maintaining that pattern of conduct. Stalking with light is psychologically harmful, and corporations, restaurants that are serving food to the American people, like El Pollo Loco, that are engaging in what are threatening you in that manner, and then they're also serving food to you. And this is something that you're always mindful of. This is an unlawful threat as well, and everything is being documented with regard to that comprehensive pattern of conduct. So anyway, this is located at 668 West Holt Boulevard in Ontario, and they're stalking through a drive-through, which are only the tactics that only psychopaths could even think of. And that's exactly what they're doing, while the impossible light that you see outside and up in California on an exterior, on the external part of a building, is occurring on the inside of a restaurant. And everyone in here is psychotic. While they can act like it's not happening all they want, they're going to be committed. Whether they say something, whether you don't say something, whether you look at it or look away, or whether you are kissing the face of a child, or whatever they think that it's supposed to, there is no looking normal. It's the very clear pattern of conduct, and there's nothing that changes what everybody is witnessing. But this is the entity that is engaging in that P.O.C., and they're doing so to their own demise. These are companies that are going to be prosecuted for terrorism, companies that are going to be prosecuted as sex offenders, companies that are going to be prosecuted, in other words, for terrorism. You're talking about treason, Article 3, Section 3. And you have those companies that are engaging in that with full knowledge. And so now you are witnessing the fact that they've always hated this country. They hate American citizens. They want your money, though. They worship that. But they care not about your rights and your enforcement of your rights. And that's what I'm proving as I document terrorist enemies that act with this level of impunity. And that's what you're going to remember, where many of these corporate entities will cease to exist. Okay? This is P.O.C. and they are demonic anyway. So this is not a loss. This is making way for many that can operate companies that will not be serving Satan, which you see is a threat to national security, that will not compromise what is your well-being, your privacy, your rights in order to make money. You don't have to do that, and it's actually absurd. The entities, the one has nothing to do with the other. These are just demons that are devoted to engaging in what is wicked conduct. They want to monitor your genitalia while they prepare your food. Why do you even need to do that? These are companies that don't need to exist. They literally don't. They're not indispensable whatsoever. All right. The entity is reliant upon your ignorance, and you are aware of that. And you're also aware of the ways in which they've shown you, even upon exposure. And this is what you're paying attention to. They know that you know, and you're sitting up watching how they behave with your knowledge. Okay. Not just the government, but these companies, the people of the state. You're talking about those that are engaging in this pattern of conduct. And they're going to be on the opposite side of what is a criminal case, what is worldwide exposure, behaving very differently. But you remember what you saw, because that's the truth. All right? These are companies that are engaging in sacrificing people, murdering them, targeting them, psychologically torturing them, sexually violating them, humiliating them, deriving pleasure out of their suffering, while they maintain a business and make money. And they do so with their customers that are all demons, sharing in that satanic system of surveillance that they did not tell you about. That's ultimate betrayal, and you should not give any sort of ability to redeem that. They should go out of existence. There are plenty that will engage in honest, upright business. They've been targeted, in fact. They've been bullied and not been able to create businesses that were genius ideas stolen from, by demons that are gang stalking now, that are going to serve the penalties under criminal and civil law. Anyway, it's currently 5:15 p.m. The entity is engaged in the pattern of conduct, and like I've stated, this is I'm just documenting because this is a case that's already Nothing mysterious or whatsoever controversial here. It is black and white, and the entities engaging in that. So this is just referencing history, and there's not going to be any question regarding how corporate entities were treating an American citizen that exposed this, and how owners and shareholders and how they want to depict themselves. And there's been an accurate, detailed record about it, and they're demons, so they're mentally ill. They are not thinking about, especially these little demons that are these welfare collecting demons that are in this country for whatever reason. It's surveillance, but for whatever surface reason, under the guise of whatever reason, that don't have anything. They don't even have a pot to defecate in. And so they don't know anything about ownership, don't know anything about the reputation of a company, don't care about that. They're gang stalking with people that have interests like that, but your interests aren't too deep because you're gang stalking. But nonetheless, this is the entity that's going to regret the reflection that they are possessing right now, and there will be no going forward beyond that. I didn't exaggerate. I don't lie, and I did not exaggerate. I don't have to. The truth is horrendous enough. I just point my camera at it. I just let you listen to it. You look at it yourself. All right. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 5:17 p.m. This is terrorism inside of a fast food restaurant, which is the surveillance system in the United States. And this is nothing other than a template. You can replace El Pollo Loco with literally any other company name, restaurant name, and it's the same exact pattern of conduct. There are no companies that are not engaging in surveillance. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. All right, it's 5:24 p.m. and exiting at approximately 5:23 p.m. You will see, again, psychopathic behavior that is self-destructive by a suicidal, mentally ill population. 7 George Zebra Sam 551. This is the entity engaging what is a cartwheel that's hovering in the air, and then just engaging what is an abrupt veering off to the what would be south when they're flying west toward the El Pollo Loco, where Amazon Prime is stalking, acting like they're landing right here. Landing by lowering an elevation, like they're landing by flying over the El Pollo Loco. That's what they did. Southwest Airlines is in this parking lot at 11 o'clock in the morning. The hours regarding the surefire prosecution regarding the entire airport, the airlines, the homosexuals of the U.S. military that have been embarrassed with regard to the fact that they are not elite, they're just gay. And they engaged in what is homosexuality, and Satan told them, and they really believed that they were going to win some sort of epic spiritual. No, you're not. You're demons and you're just homosexuals. And you're psychotic also. You're stalkers. But nonetheless, they're engaging in a cartwheel, again, tracking my steps. That's why you are doing so as I'm walking out. That's what I documented this morning, walking out of the Stater Brothers. You remember that? The cartwheels in alignment to me as I'm walking out of Stater Brothers, the entrance doors that are facing south. Yeah, and that's where the demon Salvador, he's also gang stalking this morning. All right, so his work shift. If he's still on the job right now, that's the fake son that would still be here from morning until evening. Salvador's going to prison. But just so that you know, David Quinones here this morning, gang stalking. Kia here this morning, gang stalking under the fake son. And they're doing so with regard to the fake son that's over the same parking lot where you work. You are going to federal prison. I've been documenting Stater Brothers targeting me for years, and David Quinones is not the first terrorist leader at that Stater Brothers. The female before him and the male before him that engaged in the pattern of conduct, and I've documented them as I encountered them, and the change in management, which are terrorist leaders under this system that's executed by the people of the state at establishments that are going to be held liable criminally and civilly under law. You are a terrorist leader while you are not deviating from that pattern of conduct, while you are making money and in a position of leadership with regard to terrorism, and everybody's making a decision to engage in that. Be prepared for the prosecution for it. And with regard to doing a cartwheel where everybody, okay, I just want to be good. David Quinones doesn't care about he doesn't care about going to prison. That's why they're doing cartwheels in planes right here. And it is not funny, but that is literally what you have. That's literally where you're getting to. There's a whole pool of defendants that are going to prison. So the fake son is here as I'm walking out. That's tracking your steps. That's vagina monitoring. All of that's exposed at the same time. And they're sitting inside of the El Pollo Loco being stalkers. You are psychotic when you are in a building all together, agreeing to stalk, follow somebody, block somebody, making sure that they're always sure that that's what the demon possessed do. 9 Frank Kelly Larry 271 with a minor child gang stalking, and that child is a demon as well. The entity is engaging in this POC, and they are doing so in the parking lot where I'm present in the morning, and they're doing so while that fake sun is over me in this parking lot. I'm documenting Amazon Prime, for example, stalking with commercial planes as though the psychotic demonstration. Where are you landing? Okay, first of all, you're acting like you're landing, you're crazy. Second of all, you're stalking in a plane, you're crazy. And you're doing so under a fake sun, you're crazy, because here we are today and nobody forgot that. So what were they doing in the morning? Yeah, they're crazy, and they're going to be committed with this evidence. But that's the entity engaging in that, and I'm documenting license plates, and this is already speaking to the entity that's engaging in what is the ability to see everywhere and all the ways in which they are stalking, and they are demons that do that. There's no sun that's on the East Coast. There's no sun that's in any other location, not in a natural environment. So they're all stalking, and it's the bullseye with regard to where martial law is going to apply, and it is the state of California. This is P.O.C. It's currently 6:46. Excuse me. I'm at 646 West Hall in the parking lot. It's 5:29 p.m. And this is an entity that's full of desperate stalkers. So they continuously run into position while they're witnessing. That's literally psychotic. The more fearful they are, because they're very scared about what's going on, about the way that the level of exposure. But this is the counterintuitive behavior of psychopaths who are demon possessed. The demons in them that are scared to death compel them. And remember, with regard to mental health and diagnosis and involuntary commitments, your behavior is what's being analyzed, not the fact that you're demon possessed is just a creepy feature about it. But your behavior is what is being assessed. So based on the facts and the evidence and what they're engaging in, they engage in what is absolutely mentally disturbed behavior, and they commit more and more desperate, maniacal acts of stalking, which is counterintuitive when they are fearful about what the level of exposure is. Okay, and that's because they're demons. So the demons in them cause them to engage in behaving like a linebacker, making sure they surround me. They engage in even more of that stalking conduct as they are fearful of the evidence. Okay, that's what the entities engage in. So they engage in more and more stalking. They become more and more desperate. They become more and more, like I said, maniacal with regard to following around, and it's achieving involuntary commitment. So this is P.O.C. I'm going to go ahead and capture an image of the entity stalking now on the opposite side of the street. That is UPS. That's called pacing. This is demonic with minor children. This is indeed UPS that is assigned, again, no terminal, and there's no UPS going to any destination. And who is UPS stalking is very specific. It's me, right? And this is where I'm stalking. The entity is stalking me where I'm present at 11 in the morning, where Southwest Airlines, the Ontario Fire Department, were stalking here. And they are stalking under a fake sun. Southwest Airlines is at 11 o'clock in the morning yesterday, acting like they're landing right here. They're psychotic. As I'm walking out of El Pollo Loco over there, the entity's doing a cartwheel on the opposite side of the street. So as I advance farther on this side of the parking lot, this is where the fake sun moves, and this is where the plane activity is focused. This is also, just like Southwest Airlines stalking in Upland, California, has nothing to do with any terminal. Neither does UPS hovering over this parking lot. Okay, the entity is engaging in what is all manner of criminal surveillance, and this is the maniacal conduct that's going to be used in the involuntary commitments of the homosexuals of the U.S. military, of the corrupt gang stalking police departments, fire departments, and ambulance services such as American Medical Response. The same pattern of conduct is identical throughout the cities and the counties in California, and this is the template whereby you're going to prosecute, and they will be subject to what are the mental assessments regarding what the pattern of conduct is, and the people of the state share in that. It is psychopathic, and it is proven as a matter of science to be that which is intentionally and with knowledge underway. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the fake sun, and this is 5:32 p.m. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hours earlier yesterday. This is where that the entity flies over my head by helicopter, where they have impossible light swiping off of their doors.
This is the entity that's monitoring your genitalia. These are the demons that give birth to demons that are out of the womb, gang stalking, because they're monitoring spirits. So they're engaging in the pattern of conduct with the government, literally while they're crying. Okay, they're born cursed, and this is that cursed generation. This is that cursed society of people that are engaging in the criminal system and further into murder. Okay, that's P.O.C. The airport's being shut down as well, and the military that are stalking in planes of all of the airlines are going to be subject to also federal prison prosecution for treason for all of that entity, and they're going to be subject to involuntary commitments. This is P.O.C. It is currently 5:33 p.m. All right, this is speaking to impunity. All right, I'm going to get the license plate. These are demons. They're mentally ill. They are in custody of minor children. License 7UQW701, 6XVZ779. And you see the fake sun moving as I move. They're stalking with the government and further into murder, and they will be subject to a federal prosecution. License 7ZJW369. This is Ontario Police, who's going to prison. That's Hernandez, by the way. He's going to prison. Looks like Hernandez 1644205. And this is also speaking to the nonchalant attitude. It just escalated to prison. They're going to prison. Okay? It's P.O.C. 8YTZ817, 9TDP818. I'm documenting these license plates, and they're with minor children. They're going to prison. 9LLU258. That's Ontario Police that are gang stalking in the morning at 11 a.m. while the entity has helicopter activity. All right, these demons right here that are stalking with light all over the building, they're doing so subservient to what the Ontario Police are doing it. They're serving that system with knowledge. They don't have to talk to each other. They're demons. That's what this fake sun shows, and they're going to prison. Everybody in this video is going to prison. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, that's Ontario Fire stalking going around the corner right here at Bonita and Holt. They're going to prison. They're going to prison. That's P.O.C. Operation of device, babies in the backseat, those are demons. That's the P.O.C. Severely mentally ill, a threat to national security. It's being deported. It's losing custody of children. It's going to prison. It's going to be involuntarily committed. That's the P.O.C. Ontario Police are stalking. Okay, remember the fake sons remaining in Upland at the same time. Also relevant that it's here at 11 o'clock in the morning, that duration of time. They're going to prison. Okay, everybody just document all these license plates. And everybody inside of Stater Brothers that I'm documenting, that's already taken care of. They're going to prison. Hernandez that's stalking, that he looked like Hernandez that's stalking at 815 West Holt, that's prison. He engaged in criminal summoning. But nonetheless, I'm documented that department. He's crossing path. He is stalking in the path, and so is Ontario Fire. And these are the demons that engage in that. This is P.O.C. The people of the state that I just documented in this video are going to federal prison. I'm documenting them as they're crossing my path right here. But of course, you're looking at what is the necessity of martial law. This entire city, the state is going to be locked down, and they're going to be separated from the rest of the American people because of the threat that they are to national security. And this is how you are living war while you're stalking with light, which is psychotic. And they're stalking in bathrooms. They run into bathrooms, in and out, pacing all around you, engaging what they feel are ritual, spiritually significant, when all they're doing is stalking you and being sex offenders in doing so. This is P.O.C. It is currently 5:35 p.m. Alrighty, you'll recall my documentation from yesterday morning. Yesterday morning, en route to the Ontario Village Shopping Center, the village where I just left right now, and UPS is stalking, and so is the Ontario Police Department and the Ontario Fire Department. Crossing path on Bonita, crossing path by entering into the shopping center, crossing path in the sky space. 7 Thomas Queen Mary 061, 9 Paul George Bob 912, stalking on Vesta and Vine, where all the people that say everybody on Vesta is stalking. Everyone, every household is gang stalking right now. The entire neighborhood is being federally prosecuted. And what you'll recall though is yesterday, while you see the fake sun over me right now, 5:43 p.m., 5:42 p.m., you'll recall what the city of Ontario was doing. And they're doing so very bold, gang stalking in the face of an American citizen, which is Paul Leon's clear statement of as an enemy to the United States, as an enemy of an American citizen, funding terrorism. And it is being satisfied while the employees of the city of Ontario are stalking in city of Ontario vehicles on Vesta during the AM hour, early AM hour. That fake sun is in the same position over me while I am at 520 Vesta in the morning, and you're going to see those same venues where that fake sun is over me in the evening, speaking to targeting, including while they're providing housing services, any welfare, any government assistance to the
The people that say that are gang stalking now, they're not getting that. They will not be receiving any meals from the city of Ontario. They will not be receiving any housing assistance from the city of Ontario. The city of Ontario is being federally prosecuted. It will not even be a municipality anymore. This is a criminal enterprise that's being defunded and prosecuted thoroughly. And I want to remind you about the fake son and the city of Ontario gang stalking on the street, where the people of the state are gang stalking now. Okay, they're doing so with regard to the pattern of conduct that they share with the city of Ontario, doing so vicariously with the entity that is engaging in what is plain activity over this venue. Over these venues, 517. I took a picture of 517 Vesta in the morning, and that demon, he's looking defiantly at that camera. Don't forget about that evidence, all right? Looking bold-faced in that camera, being documented for terrorism. And you come back in the evening and you prosecute those terrorists, and they're going to be committed with that evidence. They're going to be federally prosecuted and put in prison with that evidence. That's the government and the city of Ontario that commits kidnappings, all right? That exercises fictitious authority under the law while you're stalking, like I just captured the Ontario police in the parking lot. So what are you going to talk to me about? Oh, you remember me out of everybody, where everybody's doing what I was doing a couple weeks ago, standing outside in front of the dentist office, in front of the tattoo parlor, where nobody has to give an explanation about what they're doing, and where I'm not doing anything that would even cause any attention. Sitting, standing, whatever it is you're doing, that's what they were all doing. They're doing so under the fake sun while they're monitoring me. But what is Ontario Police going to do? That's why they didn't say anything. But they did say something a couple weeks ago, because the gang stalking security guard who's going to prison told me that the owner, while they're all doing the same thing now, which is standing outside, they're monitoring, and I'm standing outside. But again, monitoring is not happening, so they are just standing outside, which you're free to do that. Unless you're breaking into something, unless you're setting something on fire, unless you're violating the law in some way. The entity literally tried to. It didn't try to, targeted me on the basis of just being there in front of the venue. And so what? So are all of them. All of them. And that's not typically what's happening in a shopping plaza. You're not answering questions. Hey, what are you doing here? What are you about to go to a store? What are you doing? This is an entity that's engaged in targeting because I'm documenting and publishing. And he actually called the police, and then those demons actually showed up. Remember, each of those are independent criminal acts, and this is how the entity is engaging what is also the act of threatening to kidnap. By virtue of your showing up, you're going to prison. It's criminal summoning. But they're doing the same thing that I was doing weeks ago in the morning at that venue, and I documented that. Those gang members that called me by name, and I do not know them. All right, even the one that was gang stalking at the bus stop. We're not on any friendly basis. We're not on any first name basis. Haven't seen him since. Don't know any of their names. But you're speaking my name as though we are familiar with each other. The entity is always providing a series of concessions while they're gang stalking. And a demon is admitting to gang stalking, not admitting to having any lawful basis to identify me. But these are the things that they do when they're corrupt, and they think that, oh, because I said their name, that because I say your name and I got this uniform on, it's going to be believed, and it's going to supersede because I'm going to say I know your name because of X, Y, Z. While they're monitoring, while they're claiming whatever, and it doesn't even matter, that it's because of stalking. Every time you're in my presence, because you're stalking. And it's pursuant to what is literally manufacturing information. Oh yeah, well, we encountered each other. No, we did not. You're a liar, and you're literally here pursuant to stalking right now. And so this entity is engaging, while I'm at the Ontario Village Shopping Center, this is the entity that engaged in criminal summoning, for which they're going to prison. The Ontario Police Department is stalking at the Ontario Village Shopping Center under the fake sun, while they, at that same Ontario Village Shopping Center, were engaging in what is criminal summoning, okay? That pursuant to what is the same thing that all the people of the state are doing, standing around in front of the same location, all right? Doing so while they're gang stalking with UPS. The same location where the entity was stalking me yesterday by helicopter, and Southwest Airlines, that's clearly engaging what is asinine. Not only are they going to prison for criminal summoning, you're looking at the criminal activity that they're engaging in that's underway there, and that's where you're going to roll back and analyze everything that they said, because your behavior is going to be used to commit you. The behavior, the malicious conduct. You've got a gun on your waist and you engage in stalking people like this. You can get away with stalking them, falsely depicting their character, manufacturing facts and information that serve your corrupt purposes, to ultimately get away with targeting them. Kidnap, murder, framing, whatever they find fruitful in that moment. And that is in concert with the people. They're all those gang members that I documented engaged in criminal summoning at the Ontario Village Shopping Center are going to prison.
Period. The entity is engaging in this, and I just want to remind you where I'm at Vesta right now, and the fake sun is over me. You have what is Delta Airlines hovering, they're heightened actually in elevation at 517 Vesta. Yesterday in the morning, where the fake sun is over me, speaking of targeting, stalking by Paul Leon, who might as well be in the car, okay? Because while the city of Ontario has money to use utility vehicles, to use uniforms that they're dressed in, to gas up vehicles, to engage in what is any resources that they're using to under the guise of stalking in the specific environment, Paul Leon is gang stalking an American citizen and funding terrorism for that city to engage in that, and I'm going to prosecute him personally. As personal as is the municipality gang stalking me and all of the departments of that city. He's being prosecuted while City of Ontario is gang stalking me on that same street, Vesta, in the morning, which is the images that I took now on Vesta. So you will see those images, and I'm documenting Paul Leon because I'm prosecuting him. Alrighty, this is P.O.C, and that's what's relevant regarding those images that are captured. And you'll see the people of the state making a U-turn in the middle of the street. You will recall yesterday morning, City of Ontario is gang stalking the housing division. The people of the state are losing all benefits under the government. The City of Ontario can't do anything for you other than get you prosecuted. And they certainly aren't giving you $1. They're not going to have it. I'm prosecuting them. This is P.O.C. It's currently, let me see, 5:51 p.m. And, let me see. Okay, it's 5:51 p.m. and I am currently on what is in front of 218 C Street, where license 9 Paul Zebra Frank 062 is systematically gang stalking at her facilitating venue where she resides, engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct where you're not free to gang stalk where you live either. And this is the fake sun following me, so you are stalking where you live while that environment follows you, and you maintain that environment while you even come out of your house. Engage in affirmative conduct in doing so in order to engage in what is the gang stalking system, even crossing paths where you don't have to say anything. Okay, that's the P.O.C. It's currently 5:52 p.m. All right, D-R-S-A-L-T-Y, Dr. Salty. This is the blue Kia serial stalker stalking me under the fake sun right now. Go ahead and take a picture of that. Documented him gang stalking me also with the Ontario Police Department, the U.S. military. That's federal prison, all right? He's gang stalking right now under the fake sun, which I will take a picture of. I'm at this intersection in the morning walking towards Stater Brothers. This is 6 a.m., 7 a.m. It's 5:54 p.m. right now. D-R-S-A-L-T-Y is a serial stalker acting with a gross level of impunity very regularly at the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, psychopathic pacing, and he engages in that with a level of impunity that is noted. And I want to document that right now. Serial stalkers are going to prison. So that's P.O.C. It is currently, stalking is a crime, and gang stalking is an act of terrorism. And as you are documented, I'm doing it, but this is a precedent. As you are documented engaging in terrorism over and over again, you're going to prison. If you're not already going to prison by any of your offenses, meaning you were gang stalking with the police, you're going straight to prison. That's mandatory prison time. All right, it's currently 5:55 p.m. This is P.O.C. I just want to document this serial stalker, P.O.C. Oh, the fake sign is right here where the Wells Fargo is at. Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, that's gang stalking. Volts Church, 303 North Euclid Avenue, where Ontario police are engaging in police training at 7 in the morning. Don't forget that during daylight savings time. The entity that's maintaining that position in the afternoon, where Hadel Shiapani is engaging in what is an unsolicited, an abrupt, impromptu questionnaire regarding what Sean Thrasher was talking about on the letter of admissions regarding the allegations of bathroom violations of lesbians that are gang stalking me. Okay, this is Hadel Shiapani stalking while they are engaging in that P.O.C. at the same intersection, 1706921, vehicle 1127. I'm capturing this right now. They're stalking in the path. This is, again, the entity is going to produce their own identity. They're stalking as a department at the same intersection as early as 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning, actually, criminal summoning at 6 in the morning at this same intersection where this entity stole my MacBook that is over 2,500 MSRP. I just want to be clear, the entity is stealing from a homeless person and stealing my MacBook, doing so while I'm conducting an investigation. That's what they do. Again, why was I using that MacBook? To prosecute them. So that's no ordinary act of theft. Moreover, there are a bunch of cowards cowards who are scared of me, and that's why they're stealing my property. Somebody that's sleeping outside, okay? That's why they're scared of my Google accounts, all right? Some pickaninny little small petty things, right? Because it's not petty. Because it's the absolute truth, and it's very powerful, and they're very weak, all right? And it's pathetic. This is the U.S. military. They're shown to be a bunch of homosexuals, a whole bunch of pansies, all right? That's the pattern of conduct, though. Ontario police are sharing in that pattern of conduct. This is Euclid Avenue. Remember, I'm in Upland, California, walking out at 6 p.m., walking out at 6:58 p.m., and this fake sun is in this manner in Upland, California. That is another demon of the Ontario police who are being disbanded. They are telling on their partners. Jay Montez is gang stalking at 9 o'clock in the morning on B Street over here. He's going to prison, okay? You have what is L. Edwards gang stalking in this parking lot of the OVITT Family Community Library, gang stalking with the people at 9 in the morning. He's going to prison. You already know that he engaged in kidnapping with Starbucks. He's going to prison. So are the people of the state. All right, this is P.O.C. These are the leaders of a vagina monitoring cult, a whole bunch of homosexuals that don't even like women, but they're monitoring vagina. Okay, they're sex offenders. And they're doing so under the fake sun. And they're doing so while you're going to prosecute corrupt entities like Wells Fargo. This is currently 5:58 p.m. And that's the entity that's engaging in that documented pattern of conduct. Ontario police gang stalking at this apartment complex during the 6 a.m. hour in this fake sun. It's hovering right here at this apartment. It's all on the record. They are surrounded, and I will be prosecuting. That department's being disbanded. They're gang stalking with the U.S. military, conspiring by murder, and committing a series of kidnappings in doing so. And it is simultaneously prosecuting Paul Leon, who is going to prison as well. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C. She's going to prison. Go ahead and get this. This is a psychopath, a demon that's monitoring. You see that? That's a demon. 9DLP603. She's not saying anything else on camera. Let me show you the fake sun where I'm present in the morning. Are you taking pictures of me? Psychopath. That's the fake sun and stalking with the Ontario police. She's going to be committed. This is impossible light on the outside of her car. Let me show you my shadow. This is P.O.C. She's monitoring. And this is the entity that is hostile. They're going to be...
Why are you taking pictures of me?
This is the fake sun. Alrighty, calling names. This is the entity that's conspiring your murder. Gang stalk with the U.S. military, stalking in planes and helicopters. They're going to prison. P.O.C. You don't talk to? Yeah, go ahead, keep talking. She's going to prison. There's impossible light also under the car. It's a pattern of conduct. This is the U.S. military gang stalking.
Stay right there.
This is a P.O.C.
Stay right there.
That's the pattern of conduct. And here's the fake sun. And the police are already stalking. She's going to prison. 9DLP603. This is a demon. It's mentally ill. 280 North Lemon Apartments. OVITT Family Community Library is monitoring. Downtown Ontario. Dr. Salty. Ontario police that just crossed path. The homosexuals stalking in U.S. military planes and commercial planes are all voicing hostility through this psychopath that has engineer light on her vehicle. That's Delta Airlines. She's going to be committed. This is P.O.C. That's P.O.C. 9DLP603. She's going to be committed. That's P.O.C. Okay? This is the fake sun. And this is OVITT Family Community Library. Who's here in the morning giving me a letter talking about I'm stalking women in the bathroom? Gerber. That's who's doing that. C. Gerber. Here at what is 10 o'clock, 10:04, 10:17 a.m. Right here, which you already know. And this is the entity that's engaging in targeting. And when you're documenting, the Ontario police are stalking. The entity's stalking by helicopter from city to city, place to place. The entity's engaging what is targeting in real time with the U.S. military. She's going to prison. And this is the evidence that's going to have them committed. 9DLP603. That's the pattern of conduct. That's the threat of the mentally ill. Those are vagina monitors. That's a hostile lesbian. She's a psychopath. That's P.O.C. under the fake sun. And everybody speaking, I'm going to prosecute Sarah Regis. The employees inside of OVITT are already going to prison. They're documented as one engaged in that. That's the P.O.C. The commercial airlines, they intentionally engage in that conduct together, stalking while somebody's harassing you, just like they were with the white female that's crossing path while they're engaging in stalking, while they think it's spiritually significant. No, it's only significant regarding evidence. You're going to be committed. But those airlines are speaking and harassing together as one, and those airlines are going to be prosecuted for that. Okay, that was Delta Airlines crossing path stalking. All right, while the entities engage, I'm going to call the police. Call the police while you are stalking on their behalf under the fake sun. And this is, again, psychopathic. Very, very much concerned with me. Very hostile, very angry. Did you just take a picture? And even if you did, so what? All right, that's the entity that's engaged in that, and that's the entity that's going to be committed. And who are you calling? That's the whole pattern of conduct. That's the mentally ill. Those are hostile lesbians, and the entity is going to be prosecuted for that. All right, she's monitoring while she's engaging in that. And that's the entity that's engaging in that as demons. This is the city of Upland that all of the entities is speaking together. The U.S. military that's dipping and diving and stalking me everywhere, stalking in a helicopter, speaking through that psychopath. She's going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:03 p.m. Where I'm present in the morning, by the way. Present in the morning, and where I was here at 12. This is where I was standing. It was right here over the top of my head while you're listening to everything that just came out of her mouth, and she is monitoring, okay? Exceedingly psychotic. Psychotic, that's demon possession. Okay, that's P.O.C. Alrighty, I just captured video because I wanted to get a visual of that. This is a psychopath that's stalking at Wells Fargo, who becomes unhinged as I capture evidence of her stalking. And the entities engaging what is speaking as one. So they're all under the fake sun that is over me. I walked to the Ontario Civic Center while I was present during the 12 p.m. hour, and I reminded you in this podcast, the fake sun that's over me during the 12 p.m. hour is the fake sun that's following me around to where I went to Holt Boulevard. Fake sun over me. Excuse me? Oh, I was about to say, how did you know I was there? Yeah, it was good, actually. Are you asking seriously?
Yeah, no.
You never ate there?
No.
I don't believe you.
No, believe me.
No, it's really good.
I'm asking you because I go to Juan.
Okay, so anyway, that's still monitoring, but they're asking me a question. So anyway, the fake sun is over me during the 12 p.m. hour, and I stated on this podcast that the fake sun is remaining over me, and that's exactly what I documented at the laundromat. That's traveling to Holt Boulevard. I'm going through the same Ontario Village Shopping Center where I was already present in the morning, where I'm serially there in the morning, where the entity has engaged in criminal summoning pursuant to the non-engagement in any criminal activity, and the Ontario police don't have any jurisdiction. They don't have any authority under the law. They are caught engaging in a pattern of conduct, and everything that they're engaging in with regard to criminal surveillance and seeking to obstruct justice, which is them claiming they're here like they did a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Not last Sunday, but I believe the Sunday before last. I publish everything on an ongoing basis, and so that's how I maintain record. But it is already on the record on podcasts, and it is up in the runnings with regard to being published on social media, but it's all published on my website at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com. All the evidence is published on a daily basis, okay? So on YouTube, where it's much more organized and it's only the videos and the podcasts, that's where you're seeing a certain type of evidence, but there's a bigger picture even beyond that, and the video is very damning. The video is already a case already, but I have more than that because I take images, I take screenshots, which is providing an analysis, and you have what is the entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct is I capture it in video. And I publish it on the internet, which is where the U.S. military is being prosecuted. And the U.S. military's prosecution is the prosecution of the state of California. All right. So the entity's engaging in what is keeping this fake sun during the 12 p.m. hour. And then you're hearing this bat poo crazy. She's psychopath. She looks unhinged. Her face is contorted. Her hair is disheveled. She's reaching through her neck as though she's going to do something. This is a coward. This is somebody, again, if I were a different type of person, and I would, she would be physically hurt. But why would I do that? She's obsessed with my vagina. These are people that aren't worth it, and she's going to be committed. Please keep acting crazy and keep your hair disheveled and asking these questions. Are you under the fake sun? Are you recording me? You're monitoring my device. Did you just take my picture? I'm going to call the police that I just caught on video stalking. All right, they're doing so in the environment where you already know, as a matter of science, while the entity flies over by Delta Airlines, where there are no planes, there's no terminals, just like at the Ontario Village Shopping Center, just like on Holt Boulevard, where the entity is stalking in the path, and the entity intentionally engaged in stalking in that plane with that third party at that time because they're that idiotic with regard to going to prison. Okay, but that's the entity that's engaged in that. The government that is levying war against you, says any threatening word to you, steals from you, places you in any sort of harm, meaning threatening you, obstructing your ability to document that, engaging in what is even harassing you, and that is harassment when you're asking what the government that's levying war and keeping you under surveillance is asking you what you're doing because they're harassing you. That's a psycho that knows what you're doing. And you're doing so as though, what are you going to do about it? And first of all, what is there, there's nothing unlawful, even as but I'm doing this as a law-abiding citizen, okay? But this entity doesn't have authority under the law, okay? But that's not how you get results, by violating the law and then say that, well, they don't have authority, which they don't, but people are going to miss that point. So you abide by the law, and you show also that they're in violation of the law while they maintain an illusion of having authority under the law, and then you make that principal point that they don't even have authority under the law, whether you broke it or not, because they don't.
Okay? But if you break the law, that's the entity that wants you to do that in the first place. And you totally will miss the point in the first place. And the federal government would love to say that, oh, well, you're just a criminal anyway. They're waiting for that. So this is also why you're going to prison. Every hardship that you are enduring with regard to what you have the entity has no right to do in the first place. The fact that you have to play that kind of psychotic game, it's psychotic. You're a criminal. You don't even have authority. You're acting like you do. And I have to go about proving it in this manner. You're going to prison. Okay? So you're going to prison. That's not designed for the ordinary target individual to be able to do. Okay, you're going to federal prison for that. So everything that you just heard in that video, I'm adding on the podcast. Everything you just heard right now is evidence against that third party whose license plate is fully seen and recited. And everything that she's saying, you can see the fake sun just hovering over the top of her car. That's the Ontario Town Square where I'm present. It's documented rising there at 6 and 7 in the morning, where Delta Airlines is stalking me in the morning there as well. Delta Airlines that was stalking me in Upland, California yesterday. Delta Airlines that is has a history of stalking and hostility to documentation, such as stalking me with a third party that is communicating hostility that the demons share. That's all that is. They're all mad right now. It's analogous to stalking by helicopter. That's what that was. It's analogous to leaving fecal matter in the bathroom stall inside of the Ontario City Hall. That's what that was. She's going to be deported. I said deported, actually. So if that's not a natural born citizen, is mommy in the household? Mom in the household? Any siblings? Because you bring the whole federal government into your household when you engage in this pattern of conduct. And so deportation may very well be relevant there. But she's going to be committed. Okay, that's a federal prosecution going beyond conviction for criminal activity of levying war. The entity, that's an entity that's stalking with noise. I just turned my head. That simultaneity under the fake sun, that's what psychotic asking me if I took a picture of her. And absolutely I did. And not only that, I don't owe you an answer. I'm not going to respond. And I'm going to get them triggered more and more and more. That's what Leo is. That's what's wrong with Leo, stalking with light. Very hostile. While you're obsessed with me, you're sitting at the parking lot and you see the fake sun where she is operating her device, monitoring. And then she's, I'm going to call the police. Hold on, right there. Like she has some sort of, she's got some one-up. And I'm just recording because she's going to prison with that. Okay, you're going to federal prison with everything that is stated, and the Ontario Police, Mike LORENZ, is going to be federally prosecuted with that. The fact that they feel empowered to call stalkers, and that's enforcing that bully system, Mike LORENZ is being prosecuted with that. The fact that the Ontario Police Department are engaging in that is facilitated by the terrorist leader, Paul Leon. He's going to be federally prosecuted. He's going to prison with that. All right, the entities engaging in this while they're maintaining a fake sun over the same the location where I was at this afternoon, and that's what I stated at 12 in the afternoon today, where I'm returning and where she is stalking in the path at the OVITT Family Community Library. And then you're listening to what a highly unstable, frustrated demon is saying. And it is not going to be dismissed as, oh, they're just emotional, because that's what they are right now. They're emotional. It is irrational emotions that's stalking me in helicopters, and you're getting committed by it. Long after your emotions go back down, but that evidence is sitting there, you're going to prison, and you're going to be committed. You're engaging in what is stalking, and you're doing so while you're threatening to call the stalkers themselves, the Ontario Police, who are listening. They're monitoring through this asinine, ridiculous, psychotic, desperate, pathetic conduct. And anybody that shows up is going to prison. But this entity, this is all they have. The worst that they have is, oh, we got to call in helicopter activity. They're going to federal prison. You're going to cut right through that. That's how an entity is engaging what is instilling a spirit of fear. Remember, these are demons. So they want you to be scared. They want you to fear them. And when you fear them, you're forgetting, wait, they don't have authority under the law. They don't. They don't. And by the way, just as an aside, Jason Isaac Fields, again, this is an entity that is gang stalking me. I'm being harassed like this. If you think that you are husband material, you're not. And everything that I'm documenting, you're witnessing what is evidence to the contrary. You're delusional. You're not faith-filled. You're delusional. It will never, ever happen. The fact that the entity is stalking by police officers, and those police officers are stalking and laughing at Jason Fields because they were sharing in sex rituals with him. He's not coming anywhere near me. It's never going to happen, and he forfeited that, and the demons are also laughing about that. Okay, Tracy Banks finds it very entertaining, and she's proud of the fact that she had sex with Jason Fields, and that says volumes about her at 63, 60 some odd years old. But it also says something about him and his mommy issues. However deep that goes, having sex with anyone's mom, leaving anyone outside to die for any reason under any circumstance. It will never happen. The fact that I'm subject to this, I'm sorry, but I am not sorry. You are not anybody's husband material. I would tell my neighbor's daughter to stay away from that. That's a coward. That's a liability. That's a mistake. That's an error. Go the opposite way. You're subject to this. That's not a man. That is not a protector. That is not somebody that you engage with. This is just confirmation. It will not be happening. Okay, this is the P.O.C. The entity is engaging in gang stalking, and that's because Jason Isaac Fields is not my husband. This is the entity that's engaging in that, and as I prosecute and move on with the rest of my life, I will be meeting my husband, and it will not be Fields. Okay, Fields is an accident. This is somebody that never had any business in my path. He was gang stalking at San Bernardino Valley College. All right, this is a little boy that started having sex with my mother, which is him basically having sex with his mother. He's got psychological issues. It's currently 6:15 p.m. This is the entity that's federal prison, what I just documented her engaging in. She's speaking as the entity that's hostile, and that's speaking to another successful day. That's speaking to the entity that is hostile and triggered by the excellence of this public investigation. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, I do want to document the entity. It is B Street, but the entity is crossing path while I am at the Ontario City Hall, where the fake son is present also. Crossing path while they are driving what would be east on B Street right now, crossing path with me, stalking. It is 6:15 p.m. All right, it's currently 8:02 p.m. This is documentation regarding the sex offender that are, the U.S. military they're sex offenders. So they're homosexuals, which is getting to the fact that they are perverts in the first place. That perverted sexuality is getting to a perverted mindset. So contrary to what this satanic culture teaches you, homosexuality is not a fetish. So it is a perversion, and they are sexually perverted sex offenders that are engaging in vagina monitoring, and they do so with the sex offenders who are the people of the state. And so that's the sexual violence that the city of Ontario, the Ontario Senior Center, that is already surrounded with evidence of that fact. While the U.S. military is flying over the senior center is the city of Ontario that's gang stalking. The entities engaged in this while the people of the state are pacing with their minor children, psychopathic behavior, mental illness that is manifest in little kids that goes undiagnosed, and they grow up gang stalking their entire lives in the United States. This is a population of the mentally ill. I just want to be clear. The entities engaging in that pattern of conduct while they are stalking in the bathroom of the senior center. This is the psychotic behavior as I described, the sex offender in Upland. The one that's engaging in what is her specialty of surveillance in the bathroom stall, engaging in prolonged presence in the bathroom stall. That's what the entity is engaging in at the senior center. And Laura is an employee. She's got long bleach blonde hair. She's currently working inside of the senior center. She's engaged in vagina monitoring. This is a lesbian predator, a homosexual who's engaged in the sex offensive monitoring vagina through another co-defendant. This is someone else that's demon possessed like her and is engaging in surveillance in the bathroom stall, waiting for me to go in there in order to just be present while my panties are down, vagina exposed, engaged in what is relieving myself, while the sex offenders who are the U.S. military stalking all day long and also salivating over my vagina, over which they engage in rituals that are feckless. They're going to be committed for worshiping my vagina. They are doing so with a sex offender that's in the bathroom stall where Laura is sharing in that sexual violence. Laura is a City of Ontario employee gang stalking with the rest of the elderly who are sex offenders engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they share in that together. Understand that this is mental illness that is shared by a population. If you've ever seen the movie, just want to be clear, Deja Vu, I believe, with Denzel Washington, and you have the spirit, that demonic spirit, that's what they're personifying, demonic possession, and they sing this song, time is on my side. Yes, it is. Okay, they're getting to what is that song that is sang by it's sung by different people. It's the same spirit, though. And this is getting to what demon possession is about. It's operating at the same time and also consecutively. So you have Laura, that's already a demon. You have the the sex offender that I documented, the Caucasian female that was stalking with the homosexuals in the planes, the U.S. military, they were doing a cartwheel earlier today while I was sitting outside of the senior center. And the entity that engages in everything that they're doing, they stalk in a certain manner because in their sick minds, they think that they're accomplishing, stalk and pace around with somebody that's been mean to the target individual before, and that's supposed to be significant. Nonetheless, they're psychotic, but you just document the pattern of conduct, and there's a way to prosecute it under the law. But nonetheless, the entity is engaging in this same female that also knows that she's being documented, who was a part of the conglomerate of vagina monitors that I spoke about as I walked from the senior center to the laundromat on Holt Boulevard. She is returning again. And while Laura is inside of the senior center, Laura is talking to me. Laura is a demon, okay? And so is everybody else that's in the venue. And this Caucasian female, who was also a demon, stops and stares at me while Laura is talking. They're both demons, but this is a demon that's playing her particular type of gang stalking. She likes to stalk in my stalk conspicuously and stare at me and then go about her path. This is somebody that's very obsessed with me and likes to engage in what is staring at me while she's stalking. And this is something that Laura shares in. They're engaging in that together. So this is what an entity will do. You'll go to a restaurant you haven't been to before, and then the waiter will come up and talk to you. And then this white girl will come in, this same stalker from Ontario will come in and sit right next to you. Or, excuse me, not even sit next to you, stand by the table adjacent to you while that waiter is talking to you. You'll just see that stalker in the background. And that's how that waiter, who is also a demon, is sharing in the same pattern of conduct, harassing you in the same manner as other people that you're not talking to any of them about this white woman that threatened to hit me at the OVITT Family Community Library that's gang stalking with the homosexuals in planes and helicopters, all right? That's why I'm speaking about the movie Deja Vu, where you have a demonic spirit that is personified through the singing of that song, and you have different people that are singing that song. That's a demon in different vessels, and they're engaging in the same conduct, okay? Singing that song. That same personality is singing that song in different people, okay? This is the entity that is gang stalking. So I just wanted to give you that. That's another illustration regarding demons that tell you about themselves and what they're doing, even in the things that you consume. So Laura is engaging, and that's the city of Ontario that's engaged in vagina monitoring. And this entity is engaged in surveillance in the bathroom stall, just waiting for me to pull my panties down so that they can make a noise in the bathroom stall where they were sitting there waiting. And then as soon as my panties are down, my legs are spread apart. That ongoing graphic ongoing course of conduct that they engage in, just to engage in that sexually. These are the demons. Now she's nude. Her vagina is exposed. She's engaged in what is that conduct, and now I want to pace around and exit the bathroom. Doesn't flush the toilet. Doesn't wash their hands. Walks out the bathroom. That's the whole purpose of what they're engaging in. And Laura is a sex offender sharing in that. Okay, so this is the P.O.C. I just want to give you that graphic because these are details that I'm going to prosecute for. This is relevant to damages, psychological torture of a sexual nature. All of the companies and the city, the government officials, they're all sharing in this together while they're engaging in the pattern of conduct. The U.S. military, they're sex offenders. And they're sex offenders by virtue of what is a perversion. This is undoing what is ongoing brainwashing where you think homosexuality is normal. And it is not. It's a perversion. It's not a fetish. These are not even human beings that are talking you into and influencing your lifestyle. Demons want you to behave like them so that way they can exercise spiritual power over you. That is when spell work will operate over you, when you behave like the demon possessed, who are spirits. They're not humans. So I just want to be clear on that. And that is actually perverted conduct. And when you're engaging in that which is perverted, it is abnormal. It is literally an abomination. You have what is all manner of perversion in the mind of that person, which is a spirit. That's a Jezebel spirit operating. All manner of perverted ideas and behaviors. And that is manifest through that conduct. And that is what is stalking in the bathroom. That is what is employed inside of the senior center. That is what is stalking and going into the bathroom, lying in wait until the moment that I am physically indisposed, which is what a demon-possessed person is waiting for to then engage in what is completing that ritual, pacing in and out of that bathroom. Okay, this is shared by, they're all homosexuals, the entire city of Ontario, so that means all the female demon-possessed people, these are homosexuals, in fact. And the entity that is making up the U.S. military, they are sex offenders, and that's exactly how the U.S. military is going to be prosecuted. They're sex offenders. All right, so the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct while they're monitoring my vagina inside of the Ontario Senior Center. This is and that's proven. The fake son is over me at the Ontario Senior Center, so everything that I'm saying is supported by the evidence always. Excuse me, already. I just want to make sure that that's clear. I am walking out. It's currently 8:10 p.m. The entity is maintaining that ongoing, very, very demented, that even in the movie Deja Vu, this is the entity that's very psychopathic. While they engage in wicked, demonic behavior, you see smiles on their faces, singing that song that the demons repeat, okay? While that spirit jumps bodies, okay? They are personifying demon possession for you, and you're entertained by it, and it's actually what these actors that are performing these roles, that's literally what they don't have to act too hard, they are demon possessed. But nonetheless, they're personifying it to you, and it's actually the reality of how psychopaths who make up a population, that's what they're doing. Okay, so it's not entertaining and actually very creepy, and it's also amongst their children. Demon possession isn't restricted to any age or anything like that, and that's something that you need to know. So you have actually what is the ability to engage in quite violent, graphic, mature, and sophisticated levels of evil, where there's no limit, because that spirit is just going to use a younger vessel, and that's what is the threat of demon possession that you need to know about, and it is gang stalking in California. But I'm going to go ahead and digress there. I want to document this is indeed gang stalking in the bathroom that is underway inside of the senior center. Laura is a sex offender that is engaging in that. She is on the job. The record, all of this is who it is that I'm referring to. The entity is going to produce all of this because it's going to be a very thorough prosecution. I mean, the city council, the senior center, the police departments, the fire departments, Stater Brothers grocery store, the work schedule, all of this. These are details that are going to be produced. This is how any sort of case is prosecuted, okay? And it's called production discovery. You're going to produce it. It's not going to be a secret, including who was in the helicopter, who was in flying the commercial planes, all of the takeoffs with regard to an airline. It's all going to be produced. There's no mystery here at all. They are delusional, and there will be no secrets, no mystery whatsoever. All right, and there's no mystery right now with regard to targeting me. There will be no mystery with regard to the name of the particular demons that are doing it. That's how down to the details it's going to be. Okay, so the entities engaging in that, and the U.S. military are exposed. These are homosexuals. These are sex offenders. Okay, so that's what's so disgraceful about the U.S. military, that are treasonous. They are engaged in warfare against American citizens, and not only that, you need to know that they're sex offenders, and that's exactly how they're going to be prosecuted. Exactly. They will be on the record as sex offenders. All right, so this is the entity that's engaged in that, and they're doing so as an entity in the bathroom, which is speaking to a level of worship that is very disturbed, mentally ill, and it's a population while someone is in the bathroom waiting for my vagina to be exposed so that they can engage in what is merely stalking in that space, and that's an entity. And Laura is a part of that entity, all right? Sharing in the psychotic, bizarre behavior of stalking with another third party that is behaving in a very peculiar manner while she is sharing in the pattern of conduct with everybody else, all right? That's the entity that exposes its own mental illness. This is very weird. When you are trying to avoid being committed, you're typically on your best behavior when you're subject to an evaluation, right? You talk to, you cooperate, or you don't talk to, and you're subject to that evaluation. But this is the entity that is showing and behaving itself as though they are absolutely out of their mind, and that's exactly what the conclusion regarding the evaluation, which is this P.O.C, this prosecution on the internet, is reflecting, and they're going to be subject to involuntary commitments. The entity can be as triggered as they want. All they're doing is providing evidence, confirming it. You are engaging in psychopathic behavior in the first place, and that plain activity are the sex offenders that were crouching in a bathroom to monitor my vagina. Okay, and Laura is one of many defendants that are going to be federally prosecuted. This is the P.O.C. It's currently 8:14 p.m. The entity stalking, as the entity kept the fake sun in Ontario today, kept it over me as I walked to what is Walmart in Ontario, California. The fake sun remains over me as I travel to Upland to the Mountain Shopping Center, Mountain Avenue Shopping Center, where the, what is the name of the store inside of that shopping center? Home Depot, where the people of the state are
monitoring, and this is where the entities engaging in that P.O.C., this is where I was located, and that's the extent to where the fake sun went. It remained over me, which is what I documented as of record. So I'm talking about where else I went, but I captured the fake sun over the top of my head during the 12 p.m. hour. That's after coming from Upland, and evidence shows that Adam Tuckerman is under it in the middle of the day as well, from the beginning to the end of his shift. And he's going to prison. While you hear this planned activity, he's going to federal prison. This is how this evidence works against everybody, because the pattern of conduct is so precise. It's so specific, and it's even scientifically relevant regarding what is no mistake. And the entity thought that you would never be able to, but what do they know? They monitor genitalia. Okay? The entities engaging in this, and they're doing so exposing a population that are mentally ill. And they're engaging in what is surveillance that is expanding beyond California, and surveillance that's shared by those outside of the United States of America. The U.S. military are not only those that are disloyal enemies of the United States, they're sex offenders, they're violent sex offenders, and that's also why they will be subject to a prosecution as domestic enemies who will be necessarily be maintained on a register. They will go down as a disgrace, and I'm going to prosecute and make sure that they are made an example internationally regarding what they did in the United States and what they're doing in the face of not knowing what they are anticipating. So they're going out very sad. They're going out very sad. You hear that? Those are demons that are suicidal. That's what that's indicative of. Okay, the entity that is failing at trying to scare you is the one that is petrified, and they should be. Them and their demon-possessed children, okay? This is the entity that's engaging in conduct with regard to their listening and paying attention to my vagina and every syllable that I'm uttering on this podcast, while their children are sex offenders. And their U.S. military, because this is not the United States of America. These are charlatans. These are criminals. These are demons who are sex offenders, and they're trying to pose as they are authorized as the military, and that's not the actual creation of what is a United States of any union. And so the entity is going to be prosecuted by the illusion that it's presented. And it's going to result in a bunch of sex offenders in the U.S. military being involuntarily committed. And the more that they stalk in planes and helicopters, the more people are going to be in that very circumstance. And it's justice. Don't forget how many times this entity kidnapped me. Shannon Dykes, they're being disbanded because this entity kidnapped me. And me, the one that is prosecuting them. Don't forget about this. The one that you hear communicating at an exceptional level. This is just the reality. And they kidnapped me inside of a mental ward of San Bernardino, West Valley Detention Center. Absolutely, these homosexuals are going to be committed involuntarily because you're reaping what you sow. The reason why that happened is so that I can report live with personal knowledge about the extent of corruption and terrorism that American citizens suffer and how this surveillance system operates, the nuances of it and the operation of it, the details and the extent of it. They are going to be subject to involuntary commitments. This is what they've been doing to American citizens, and they are the ones who are, in fact, have proven and continuously confirmed severe mental instability. That's not just a threat to them because of their position, because of what they've committed and what they're doing and the way they're doing it. It is a national security threat, and they will be subject to involuntary commitments. And that's just the facts. So making loud popping noises, flying over my head by helicopter, psychopathic pacing in various commercial airline companies is merely giving me a paycheck, a fat one, on top of you being involuntarily committed. In facilities that are currently being constructed for that purpose. The U.S. military is going to fill them up. The people of the state are going to fill them up. Okay? This is the P.O.C. All right? Demons. Demons that are mentally ill. That's the P.O.C. The entities engaged in this at 8:18 p.m. These are the demons that are engaging in what is asking me questions, threatening me, looking disheveled and psychotic, asking me, did I take a picture? She's going to be committed as well. She's going to be committed. This is the P.O.C. It is current, and I'm referring to the demon whose license plate and image on video under that fake sun, and you are aware of what you hear this plane activity, right? You saw Delta Airlines in that video stalking in the past. She is so being committed. It's not even funny. She's being committed. But this is the P.O.C. It's 8:19 p.m. I'm at the OVITT Family Community Library, where the entity is going to be prosecuted as a matter of what is official procedure in a courtroom. But that, I just want to be clear, it is complete. I have spoken it. It has been decreed. And you are just witnessing in time that ongoing formal process. But it is going to happen in exactly the way that I said it's going to happen. All right, this is P.O.C. It's currently 8:19 p.m.